Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to today's stream. As before you get upset and say, "Where's Movie Game Monday?" It's MLK Day, dude. It's MLK Day. We observe the holiday here.
Stupid. Why
We observe the holiday. No Movie Game Monday. So instead, you know, normally I'd play Deadlock or something, but I actually have a special treat for you. I've spent a good bit of time setting this up. Or how are you still sick? I went to the doctor today. I think I caught like a secondary virus because I was like my immune system was so fucked when I was like dealing with the other one and then the kidney stone. But like I'm okay. It's just like I gotta get this mucus out. Woke doctor gave you the woke virus. It's not true. They didn't do that. But no, so I worked on this special treat.
Connor, this is my application to become the YouTube chat ambassador link.
Thank you, Autumn. I appreciate it. Oh, you made something? Wait, hold on. I'll look at this. Ooh, I wanna take you to Bermuda. It's pretty good. Nice little art, dude. I can't pull it up on the stream right now. No, but because my cough is so interrupting and like I really need to like rest my voice and like not stress it, and my job is like to talk. I brought in a special guest today. I brought in Joe Rogan, friend of the show, Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan has a special show for you today with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. So I might interject sometimes and like talk over it, but I'm just gonna listen with you, honestly. You can like give your takes. I'll read subs. I'll try to read subs and stuff and like talk on occasion. But yeah, wait, hold on. Yeah, I had some funny tweets. I'll actually show my tweets today. Hold on. I'll actually do this first. One sec. I was on a bit of a Twitter. I had a Twitter night last night and today, as I'm known to do. as I've been known to do.
Months, Connor, I love a good React stream.
I'll just go through them all. Here, that one doesn't matter. So this stupid fuck tweeted again. If you don't know Stephen Miller, he's shitty Goebbels. He's like in Trump's ear, and he like manages everything, and he's evil, and he's a cuck. I replied to him because he's saying insane shit about like law enforcement needs to like stand down. I said, you have no one, Steven. The only guy who ever took you seriously is a dementia-ridden pedophile, and at least he's funny. If you want to be celebrated for once in your life, ask your wife for her boyfriend's ketamine. His wife, again, if you new here, his wife cheated on him with Elon Musk. Take a heroic dose, then jump in a pool. Love from New Hampshire. Go Bills. I do want to apologize to the Bills fans because I hate that they're out of the contention again. And I'm not actually a Bills fan, but I just thought it was a good ender here. I'm actually a Falcons fan, but I was rooting for you. Why New Hampshire? I don't know. Just thought of it. I wanted to pick like a random state. But it needed to be like still like somewhat near New York. OpenAI is rapidly losing money. It's projected to lose $14 billion in 2026 alone. Who cares? Money isn't real. All that stuff's going away. Get this crap off my feet. It's true. It is going away. It is going away. There's no way we get out of this next couple of years and the world economy is not forever completely turned on its head. Rob Schneider tweeted, historians will look back on our era and name these times the the age of emotion. They will note that one man saved Western civilization by providing a safe haven for free speech. That man is Elon Musk. I said, nice one, Rob. Knew you still had it. My wife's son and I can't wait for Grown Ups 3. And this was just real. I mean, this isn't a joke. I don't know. I didn't mean the ratio. I'm just doing pretty well on Twitter lately. I didn't intend the ratio. I'm here. This is honest, earnest reply. Yeah. Shout out to Rob Schneider. Love Grown Ups. Love Hot Chick. Dude, a hot chick too would go crazy, but maybe one day. Dan Bongino, former deputy director to the FBI. He keeps tweeting every day. Today is like the date, and Donald J. Trump is the president of the United States, which is interesting to me because he definitely knows he's a pedophile by now, and if he doesn't, then he's an idiot. But I just replied, Mr. Bongino, my wife is a huge fan of your build and your frame. When I put your program on the TV, she sits next to me. She's my whole world, and I want to make her happy. Could I get a shout out to Jenna Tools? And in my mind, at like 4 a.m., I was like, yeah, maybe he'll like record like a cameo if like I get like enough likes, and he'll like shout her out. But I guess he probably won't do that. But he didn't block me. He's known to block people, so I have to be careful with him. Halsey tweeted, X considers letting you steal a creator's revenue if you ratio them. I've heard this. I said, great idea. Do this, please. Unrelated, buddy from high school is unhoused after having placed an astronomical number of poor bets on your prediction market. Brad is a husk of a man, and his daughters no longer wish to speak to him. Think we could spot him some credit to spin? So remember, like that, let's get Brad some credit in the account. Let's get him a new call she run. He's betting on geopolitics lately. He's betting on geopolitics. He actually believes we will invade Greenland. And you know Brad, he's always had an eye for that shit. So I think he actually could like get out of the red here. So shout out. Jug, thank you. Autumn, thank you. Ghost Void, Dr. Blue, Shina Colada, Sunstress, Messir, Riley Osis, Jake, Glowshark, Wackas. Thank you for the subs, dude. All right. Now that that's done, now that the talking segment is done, we can finally listen to Joe. So we're gonna sit here, and I think the audio should be good. If I really need to adjust anything, let me know. Hopefully I don't get copyright claimed on YouTube. Wait, I'm actually gonna tweet that I'm listening to Joe as well, because I should tweet more that I'm live, and I'll just delete it later. Listening to the... It'd be kind of funny too if like people that see my Twitter right now like come in here and then like I go like, wait, is he just listening to the Joe Rogan podcast and playing video games? Almost got it. You kind of look like a less chopped Nick Fuentes. Well, that's just like short, like white, brown-haired guy. But thank you that I'm less chopped. I appreciate that. At least I'll take that. Nick Fuentes if he was autistic? Well, I wouldn't say that, but perhaps Nick Fuentes if like he like wasn't gay.
Don't worry about random
Luna,
chatters
thank you.
reporting you for watching Joe Rogan. Snitches get stitches.
Don't worry about random chatters reporting you've watched Joe Rogan. They won't do that. It's fine. It's chill, dude. Laws are over. The president is a pedophile. The president is a pedophile and laws are over. Copyright is gay and done. Shut the fuck up and just mind your own business. Okay? Anyways.
Yo.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
That's wild. I went in because I came in from Miami. I think I was living at the time, and I went in and I'm sitting in the waiting room, and it was like on a Sunday because I was like, I'm only in town for it, and Stan was like, I'll come into the office. I'm like, thank you so much. I had to have a filling or so, whatever I needed. It's a kind of an emergency. So I'm sitting in the thing, and I'm not getting called in, but the lady's just no, there's not.
Yeah,
even a
I did
reception.
put on a sharpening
Stan comes
filter
out with his mask on. No, the first thing I
at
hear
max
is,
level
big fucker, fucking cocksucker, fucking big fucker, and I'm like, what is happening in there? It's
because
in the other room.
I wanted
And
to
Stan
like
comes
get
in with his mask
around
on.
like potential
He goes,
like
"Sorry,
content
I'll be
ID
with you soon." He goes, "I
just
got
in
my
case, but
and he goes back. And
I don't know
hear-
if it'll
listen
work.
To Hunter Thompson swear for like 15 minutes. I'm like, this is amazing. And then Stan goes, okay, come on back. And Hunter's kind of getting out. And he goes, oh, you're sitting down with this guy? He's a fucking assassin. And then he goes, and he's got this jug of clear fluid. And he's like, you're gonna need a sip of this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking Hunter S. Thompson's moonshine. I'm like, this is
ethyl alcohol.
I'm like, this is fucking amazing.
2000
I'm like, I'm talking to this dude for 30 seconds and I'm getting a sip. And like, and it was like 10 in the morning on a Sunday. Yeah. He was halfway
Was it
through the
just pure
jug,
burn,
pure
like catch
fucking
fire,
like, yeah.
fucking-
It
Where was this?
In Beverly Hills. Yeah. Yeah, Brentwood. Yeah, Brentwood.
thanks Traeger
Oh my
Cat
God,
for the
that's
sub.
amazing.
It
Altair,
really was.
Luna,
It was-
thank you
it was-
guys.
and so I had probably a
Why are you
total of
watching Joe
7
Rogan?
minutes, you know, with him.
'Cause it makes
was
me feel like I have
I
friends.
could not have been a better 7 minutes.
That's incredible.
Sometimes after
I
a
went to
long day in the
Woody
coal
Creek
mine,
Tavern just to go
I get
there,
home
I
and
used
Joe,
to go
Matt,
there.
and Ben are there for
You
me.
could like feel him in the building.
What's wrong with that?
There's all the pictures on the walls. It's a cool little place.
I mean, those books, fucking Hell's Angels, Fear and Loathing.
Flip it and add a CRT filter.
Like, he really had his own voice. Mountain Diary, it was spectacular. You know, it was like really descriptive and punchy and fucking interesting and fucked up. And he also just lived that life. It was like
Fear and Loathing changed my life. Like reading that book was like, what the fuck? Like, what is this guy doing? There's grown men out there, balding grown men with spectacles, running around with a.
There's lizards in the fucking lounge. Like, you guys are listening. And
He's
Thanks,
got a day
Max,
trip
for the
bag
Prime.
filled with
Appreciate
acid.
it.
Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
and it's great shit. It's like you fucking feel like you're on the adventure with him. You know?
Yeah. No, it's interesting to watch the evolution of his writing too. You know, like
Where's my
I read
game,
Hell's
bro?
Angels. It's like very different. You know,
Play
but
video
Sort of, he was
games.
kind of restrained. It was quite like for that. I think it was edgy, sort of for the time. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, you're gonna get beaten, chain whipped, and stomped by the angels, and that was really edgy.
hell are you staring
By the
at,
time they
buddy?
got to what, it was Fear and Loathing 72 or
I
something
can't
like
help
that.
you. I gotta go hide from
he
the
was
locals.
just-
yeah, it was gone.
He
And he
found
was-
his voice.
He did find
He
it.
was he covering a race
Don't
for like Sports Illustrated. That's what Fear and Loathing in
When I
Las
read a
Vegas
book
came from.
about I fucking lost my mind. Great, it's great, Hunter. We'll take it.
Well, hey, it's very nice to meet you guys. I met
Something,
you before. But it's very
something,
nice to meet you.
17
Thank you very
And
much.
I love the fucking movie.
Thank
The
you.
Rip is
Thank you.
great.
Thanks. Thank
It's really good. It's so original and it's so different. And it's
What is the-
you
what
know,
is
it's
their
like,
new
I love
movie?
those kind of movies, but it's not like any one.
What is
that
the
I've ever
movie
seen
that they're
before.
promoting?
It's really solid.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So much better than hating it.
For the interviews where they're like, so I saw the movie. Anyway, how you guys been?
We've had a lot of those in
Rip.
the press junkets where they come in and the first thing is, you know, the movie sucks if they don't ask you anything about the movie. You know, and you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be bad.
Is it weird, like the transformation of the film industry seems to like a lot of it is moving towards these big streaming movies now.
Absolutely. I mean, look, it's because where most people have gone to watch them. Right?
Yeah.
Like, used to be the only place you could go see movies in the 40s. Like, every American went to the movie every week, basically. But it was because it was that or watch the cows walk by, you know? That was the only... And then TV comes around, and it's little, and you see these little serials. But, you know, what happened was now that's why it totally changed the whole thing, because you got 300 million...
OMG, he's really listening to Joe Rogan?
Watching, you know, Netflix. And
Of course. You turn up the volume? I think it's fine. I tested it for like an hour before I really worked on it.
Excited about it.
Yeah.
That's what we had.
But maybe. If I really need to turn it up, let me know.
I mean, teen years were just every weekend we're at the movies.
Yeah.
There's just no question about it. You were going to go and usually not get into one because there were too many people, and then you just see what else is playing and go to that.
Joe
Well, it seems like it was kind of slipping away because so many people were watching streaming already, and then COVID came around, and everyone was locked down, and no one was going to the movie theater.
Turn
And
them
then
up a little bit.
Just set
I
in.
had this like drama that was coming out like right when COVID hit. I really liked the movie, performance movies. An alcoholic guy whose kid dies and becomes an alcoholic. It's a dark movie, but I loved it, and I could tell like no one's this movie. And it wasn't even that
Would be playing Deadlock all day.
So, you know, look, they
On
rushed it onto
patch?
streaming. People actually saw it.
All I do is play Deadlock all day anyways, bro. My wife left me.
TV, and that's what was TV viewing. Now it's like $200. You got a fucking 65-inch flat screen, like, and good
Way
sound.
too loud. Can
So
you
of course
turn it
people
down
were
a
willing
bit?
to- And then streamers also started making great shows. You have Adolescence. I don't know if you saw. I think that's one of the best things ever done.
I haven't seen
It's
Adolescence.
unbelievable.
What is it?
Oh my God! It's
Don't listen to that guy.
Spoil too much of it. It's
Oh.
only 4 episodes.
They're all one shot.
They're all one shot. Each episode is one entire shot.
Whoa.
So the cast they took I talked to the director about the cast a week per person each, one and
did,
then
like-
a week to shoot it, and so they do it twice a day. It's the full hour. They would choreograph
It's a
the
feat unto
entire
itself.
thing. Yeah, it's really.
And then the acting is
But that's I mean,
It's
just
really
dismiss
quiet.
that. Even you could even call it a gimmick.
Let me
It's
turn down
not in
Deadlock.
space, but the performances and the writing and what it's about, it's as good as anything you'll see. It's phenomenal.
What is it on?
Netflix.
You know, you have like it's not even an anomaly. There's Baby Rangers, there's fucking Succession, there's Game
Ozark.
of Thrones, there's Ozarks.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like okay, well, they're doing great shit out there. It's not like this sort of implied thing before was like, yeah, well, TV's not as good, it's not as interesting. It's a serial.
When we started, it was there was a different. I mean,
was a
like
stigma,
like
yeah.
George Clooney, for instance. Like there was a big thing. You know, he very famously, became this superstar on ER. That show, 40 million people a week were watching that show. It was the biggest thing, right? Because there were only a few channels to tune into, and that show was the biggest one. And George never renegotiated his contract. He wanted to work in movies, and it was like you can't go from TV to movies. It's very hard.
It is kind of crazy that George Clooney
And he really
went from ER
strategically and kind of patiently
to being a movie
He
star.
joked that on the last.
How do you go from a
episode he
show
was on,
called
Edwards,
Thank you
his
for
co-star,
hosting
Yo,
was
Pooh Bear,
making $1 million
thanks,
for
bro.
the episode, and he was making 20 grand or whatever his deal was. Like he
It's a
could
Joe
have
Rogan
renegotiated,
stream
but he
today.
would have had to
The
give
point
more
was
years.
that's how bad he wanted to get off TV
Right.
and
Yeah.
do movies.
That's how bad he wanted to get off of the biggest TV show in the world, because there was such a big kind of level change.
Bad day to raid? This is the best day to
Well, it was a
raid.
giant difference in quality. It was also the
I'm
breaking it up
sick
from
and I'm
commercials.
trying not to
It was
cough,
just
so
a
I'm not
different
talking
experience.
much.
You know, there's all these rules. So like,
Yeah.
you can't say this, you can't do that, you can't swear. No. You can't have violence and all the things people want to see in movies. And also it wasn't as interesting. And then now that's tethered to these schedules and all this stuff. Whereas you get this shit like you don't have a schedule and you can take a bunch of risks. And that started happening. And then it was kind of like, well, this is just as good, if not better, than what's in the movies. And so
Well,
that
then
just kinda
movies
went
started
away.
to move towards more IP, and
Right,
and
because
they,
it was
and,
hard to get people to come to the movies. Everyone got scared and thought, well, it has to be. A
I hate when they
sequel or
complain about
superhero
this.
movie
And
to
so
justify
an
being a
interesting.
I
little
love
movie, kind of in the
superhero
90s
movies.
When we kind of came onto the scene,
I like when
there
Iron
were a
Man
lot
meets
of
Captain
really good
America,
independent movies
dude.
were being
That
made.
shit
There
was
there
awesome.
it was a really great time to be making movies. People were making daring movies, and then everyone just got way more conservative because huge, like the business is so different theatrically and streaming, because to put out a movie theatrically, you have to put so much more money behind it to publicize. Like you're trying to get everybody
spending about what the budget was to make it to advertise.
Because
and
you
get
got
50% of the theater.
Yeah, because you split it with the movie house, right?
So a $25 million movie to break even, you got to make $100 million.
And so, and you got to get everybody to not only know about the movie, but to show up like that Friday night, like that specific time, you know, for that specific movie, and so and to cut through all the noise that people are contending with.
So it just becomes about risk. Nobody wants to take the risk. They don't want to make something new because it's such an investment. We're going to lose our fucking money, and the streamers will step into it. And like, no, you know, you don't have to necessarily have a star. You can try something more interesting, or it didn't have to be a superhero movie, whatever it was. And also, I think it's like, you know, frankly, like people my age, like, it's, first of all, it's expensive, right? You take your whole family, it's $100. You're on a streaming service, $20 a month. You can watch all you want. So you can't be cavalier about, like, you're just gonna price it however the fuck you want and expect everyone to, like, be indifferent to it. And then, you know, also, you know, the idea of, like, for me, you know, there's a lot of stuff I make that. Do I want to see The Odyssey on a big screen? Fucking def. I went to a theater to just watch the trailer for that movie. And, you know, did I, at one battle after another, I wanted to go see
I
it in the
love
theater.
Ben Affleck and Matt
People
Damon, dude. I just love like
where,
bros.
Yeah, and I got a good system and shit.
You
but I'm
love
like,
to
look,
see
I'll
like a
watch it. I might
healthy
get tired.
like
I'll pause it and take a piss. Or
guy
you know, whatever it is.
relationship.
That's conducive to my lifestyle. So
And most people's
I even
lifestyle.
see few. I think
Yeah.
most people are. Yeah.
But there is the
They are
experience
gay.
of seeing it with a bunch of other people.
It could
and seeing
be,
an awesome movie
but
with
they
a
don't
bunch of other
have to
people.
be
It's like a
too,
shared
and that's what's beautiful
100%.
about it. It could
always
just
like
be
an
bros.
attention. Way more attention. Like when I went to see One Battle.
That's why
on
it's great.
IMAX, like, you know, that feeling. There's nothing like that feeling. I took, you know, 2 of my kids and 2 of my nephews, my wife, and we all went. And it was like, and you're in with, you know, a bunch of strangers, people in your community, and you're having this experience together. I always say it's more like going to church. Like you show up at an appointed time. You know what I mean?
Joe's such a sweetheart.
So, you know, versus the experience of watching at home, I think, you know, you're watching in a room, the lights are on, other shit's going on, the kids are running around, the dogs are running around, whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's just a very different level of attention that you're willing to, or that you're able to give to it. And that has a big effect. And it also ends up having an effect, or starting to have an effect on how you make movies. Like, for instance, Netflix, you know, the standard way to make an action movie that we learned was, you know, you usually have like 3 set pieces, one in the first act, one in the second, one in the third, and you know, they kind of ramp
I gotta
up
lock
the big
in.
one with all the explosions. And you spend most of your money on that one in the third act. That's your kind of finale. And now they're like, can we get a big one in the first 5?
Kind of like you and Schlatt on those SMP days. Everyone's shipping for no reason. No, literally.
I
And,
wait
you know, it
15
wouldn't be
teacher
terrible
this
if
year
you
for high school tried to
reiterated
send
the
me a
plot
link
3
to
or
the
4
Joe
times in
Rogan
the
Jelly
dialogue
Roll
because
episode
people are
recently.
on their
It
phones
changed
while
my
they're
life.
watching,
Now
you know
I'm
what I
like
mean?
bleeding
And so
senseless.
then it's going to really start to infringe on
Creatively.
how we're telling.
Thank
But
you,
then look at
Ozzy.
Adolescence. It didn't do
Two
anything.
Didn't do
frames.
any of
And
that.
it's
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
great. You know what I mean? So I think it's dark too. It's tragic. It's just like guy who finds out his kid's accused of murder, and it's like, you know, and there's long shots in the back of their head. They get in the car, nobody says anything. I think there are those. Look, these
I wish that
ideas,
were.
like,
That
you do
feels
this
more
trick,
like the
do that trick,
exception.
you know.
It's so masterfully made that it feels a little more like the exception. I hope it's not.
My
I mean,
feeling is just that it demonstrates that you don't need to do any of that shit to get people. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, you know, yes, you know, like look, hey, the town had the action thing in the beginning, the first 5 minutes, because you know what I mean? Like, it's a common trick that you would go like, let me grab
800 on a
and get 'em
deadlock
invested.
stream?
It's
Dude, I love
movies
how,
that
like,
start with the
people
hero
keep
hanging from the
pogging
cliff,
that get
and
in here
now we're gonna flash back to the beginning.
view
and
count.
how they got there.
And it's every single time it's getting progressively
I always
lower.
feel like complaining about it makes me feel
But
like
people
one of
are
those guys
still
like,
impressed.
When I was a boy, like you always want to freeze the culture at the time when you, I don't know, felt more like, you know, we didn't
Oh,
used to have
Connor,
these
3
phones.
digits
You know,
today.
fuck all these phones, and every, look at the, I get it. Yes, it's true. Also, it's like supply and demand. People want to look at their phone. They can look at. They want. You know, they're going to do that. I think what you can do is make shit the best you can. Make it really good, and you know, people can still go to movies. It's not like you have this idea of that's like an existential threat. Everything that comes along is going to destroy everything. Instead of like, what history suggests is that there's like marginal improvements. Things shift. Yep, as television came along, there was less theater going. And that's still gonna happen, and people are still gonna go to the movies because of what you said. Like, it feels like a cool thing to do. I'm gonna go see The Odyssey. I guarantee you, in a theater. You know, no matter what. fewer of them. And you could argue that's because I have more choice or whatever it is. It's hard to fight Superman. That's the trick, right? If people want to watch a bunch of stuff at home, they invest in TVs and it costs us money, they will. So, okay. But the upside of that is, like, I can try to do something. Hopefully, that's like that actually.
Why is the
doesn't need
Kool-Aid
to,
man in this game?
have
Capitalism.
The most urgency to get you to come to the theater with your family. That's a little more experimental or risk taking or whatever in that way.
Well, you gotta adapt. I mean, there's no way you're gonna change people's viewing habits now.
No.
I mean, what percentage of Netflix is actually watched on phones? It's gotta be pretty high, which is insane.
Yeah. Even watching on a laptop for me is kind of like, kind of sucks. you
Yeah,
know?
it sucks.
That's a joke that I like to make with every director I work with. Like when they're really puzzling over a shot or really grinding out something, I go, you know, it's not gonna look. Just everyone gets angry.
Takes it out of their fucking sales. You know? No, that's gonna look great. This fucking big, but keep fucking around and lighting that. We'll also.
It is weird though, the concern for the algorithm, like making sure that people watch. Like, look, we've got data that shows within the first 5 minutes when this happens, they tune out. So it's like my buddy Tony Hinchcliffe, you know, he's got Kill Tony, and now it's on Netflix, and so they're giving him notes now, and they can give him.
Kill
But
Tony.
they're not telling him what to do, but they're saying like, this is when people are.
That's
coming.
my buddy,
And
by the way.
Let's, you know, just so you have that data, now decide how you want to edit things.
The guy who like made fun of Puerto Ricans at the inauguration last year.
Because it's like the bar for walking out of a movie theater is a lot higher than from just changing the channel.
Right.
Right. And oftentimes, you know, directors will want to make a movie that's challenging and upsetting. And I remember Barry King, a great actor. He told me about the experience of seeing Taxi Driver in New York for the first time, right, in '76 or whenever it came out. And he said, what I remember is not only the movie, but I remember standing at the back because I got up out of my seat and I went, but I couldn't bring myself to leave because I was so invested, because I was standing at the back by the door watching the movie. And he goes, and there were 2 other people standing next to me who were doing the same thing.
Just because they were disturbed?
Because the movie was disturbing them so much.
Wow.
But which is not a bad thing, right?
Right.
So had that been on Netflix or Amazon, you know, if somebody goes, oh, I'm disturbed, and they change the channel.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't mean you shouldn't make Taxi Driver.
Thank you for 1 year of
Investment is
entertainment.
going to a place is much greater.
Yeah, one of the values of that is that you look at movies from the 70s, the first act is 20 minutes. Right. You know, The Verdict is a great movie. It takes a long time to
Look at
get
the
going.
Deer Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's...
And you're right, like what you're saying, the threshold for walkout is real, like, Amy's seeing like, I won't watch Naked. Like, whatever, you know, you flip the fucking, so you are battling that, and, you know.
I watched Le Mans the other night, Steve McQueen,
Yeah.
and there's no one talks for like 5 minutes. There's no talking. It's just a bunch of stuff getting done.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of people doing things, and it's like, wow, you could make it different. You could let it air out back then.
Yeah.
It was. They had a different.
You didn't even have to
respect for
talk
what
in
it was.
movies back
Like, you were
then, bro.
Telling a story.
What
You're
happened?
gonna let it air out.
Well, they also knew where their audience was.
Yeah.
They were in a theater.
There were no
Part of it was like,
words for
and this
5
story I
minutes.
like is the first time they did a movie, guys, with a projector in a room full of people. It was a movie of a train pulling into the station, and they put the reel up and they did demonstrate, and they showed the people, and everybody missed it because they were turned around staring at the projector. They never fucking seen anything like that. You know, so it's like the technology's upstaging, but like you come for an event, you come for a thing. We're all going to be here. That's part of it. It's there's competing arguments. Like you could think, well, to do, and some people just go ahead and fuck it. Like if Jim Cameron's Avatar, I'm gonna make my 3-hour movie, and people are gonna come, and great, you know what I mean? And people say, oh well, you can't have a 3-hour movie. And he's like, well, I'm Jim Cameron, and I've actually got the #1 and 2, and movies. I think I got this. He goes ahead.
So
and
you
does
play
it.
Deadlock
There's
when you're not
history's full of
streaming?
people
Pretty
who
much, yeah.
got told a bunch of conventional wisdom, and we're like, yeah, but we're gonna do something different. And as it turns out, like, that's actually what people want too. It's not for you to just repeat the other shit that's been done before.
You're kind of just like sitting at my desk today.
This episode is brought to you by
I might do this more often.
It's the
I forget that I don't have a real job. I can just do things
for $25 a month. Taxes and fees included, all on Verizon's 5G network. It's the ultimate wireless hack to save money.
I'm gonna
and
play
still
the
get great
ads as a
coverage
courtesy.
and a reliable connection. Got a resolution to save? Kick 2026 off right now for a limited time.
Also,
New
I like
members
knowing
get
what
the
products
Visible
to buy.
plan for just $19 a month for the first 26 months. Ring in the new year with code SWITCH26. Share the savings with a deal that's too good to keep quiet. Switch now.
My wife
at
switched when we turned
visible.com.
26.
Terms apply.
Let's go.
Limited time offer, subject to change. See visible.com for plan features and network management details. One of the things I read that I thought was really fucking cool is you guys set it up so that if this film performs well, the entire crew gets bonuses.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hopefully it's successful.
I think
it's
nobody
gonna
gives a shit
be.
now if it doesn't.
It's
not
a fucking
popular.
great movie, man. It's a fun movie.
But it's good, but it's not like, you know, fucking we're saints or philanthropists. Like, it's completely self-serving, in my opinion. Because in order to do the job well, everybody who's working on it has to be really invested and give a shit about the result, not their paycheck only. And sometimes you work with a crew that just happen to be great anyway, even though they don't really have to care about what you do. And what we saw was like, that makes your movie better. And then there's just the thing of like the business is changing. You see these strikes and work stops and all these fucking questions. In order for this, I think, to survive and to be, you know, a good middle class artist, you know, artisanal craftsman job, you got 1,200 people that, you know, need to have reliable jobs. And part of the negotiations is always like, yeah, but we're all going to get fucked. Like, we have no participation. Like, used to working on movies, and it happens to actors too, where you go, oh, we all invested, it was really hard, and we fucking put in the extra effort. Somebody else walked away with all the success. And you know, my theory was with Matt was we were like, how about where let's say, okay, it's just fairness, right? If this thing actually blows up and does really well, you should benefit from that. People have been, you know, kind of given sort of promises of participation and back end that haven't come true. So this is like the crew, everyone got their rates, everyone got their hourly, no one cut anything. This is just an exercise in actually proving that it's not bullshit. That if there's success, you'll get some extra. A little success, a little extra. A little more, a little more.
But also, like you said, because it's fair, you know, and instincts of people who made the movie should, you know, should participate in that. And also with this one, which was important to us, there's, you know, they delineate above the line and below the line, right? Like above
I like how they're going on Joe Rogan and being like, we're letting the peasants eat with this one.
Below the line being kind of more blue collar.
The poor people get money too now.
And
It was like painters, greensmen.
And Joe's like, wow.
Everybody else was drivers.
And so we just wanted, we and believe, like when we started.
It is
this company,
cool,
we were
though.
like, look, you know, we know who makes our
Fuck,
movie better.
fuck Netflix.
Right? It's not. It's like this has kind of been mispriced the whole time. Like the economics have been wrong. Like when there's a big success, everybody who had a hand on it.
Because you see a great director that people rely on, or an actor that's considered bankable, they're all going, okay, I need all my people with me.
Yeah, every
Because
great
they're,
director
you know,
I've worked with, and I've worked with a lot of them, they have their regular crew members that are ride or die with these people.
Right.
Because, I mean, and you said it to me when we were starting the company. You were like, you know, those department heads, you know, who are each handling, like, you know, cinematography, you know, your camera, your grip, like all, this.
Thanks,
those
Formula,
people
for the sub.
are ultimately the people who make the movie good. Like, they make a demonstrable difference in how good your movie is.
And imagine once you get a good flow with a great crew,
Exactly.
like you got the band.
Yeah.
Like there's no need to bring in new band members. Let's do this again.
Yeah, because and then like you have the situation where they all are filmmakers too. Everybody knows what we're trying to do. Like then what makes it, you know, you're trying to get something special, something interesting, something fucking magical in some moment. You have to, like, if people are tight or if they've been out of shape or, you know, it fucks up the environment, people aren't relaxed, actors can't do their best work. And that does make a difference between something that's good, average, great, whatever. And I think that you say, like, you know, it makes cognitive sense to people. But if you look around, like, what's his name? Colin Anderson, camera operator, right? Not the cinematographer, but I would tell you, I think he's the greatest camera operator there is in Hollywood. And if you want evidence of that, he shot Marty Scream. He was a camera operator in one battle after another. You know, you look at his resume, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. These are all fucking great movies. Now, is he personally responsible for all of it? No, because it's a collaborative movie. There are people like, you can be a painter and paint by yourself. You can be a novelist and do that, sing, write music. You can't do this shit. Like, there are a lot of people that go into it. You know, even when I realized, like, Matt was the lead in the last movie I did, Air, that I directed it. Having somebody so fucking good in your movie who also goes up, does his job, is friendly, isn't fucking around or playing games or being weird, like that sets this tone. Everybody else kind of goes, okay, well, what's Damon like? Oh, I see. We're taking it seriously, but nobody's gonna be a dick. We're all gonna do our job. We're not gonna take ourselves too seriously, but we're gonna take the job really seriously. And immediately, everybody kind of snaps into that. That trickle-down effect goes across the whole thing. And I think the best thing that I know how to do as a director is just create an environment where people feel like they show up, people like me, they're rooting for me, I can fucking embarrass myself and be bad, and it's not gonna be in the movie, and it was gonna make me feel self-conscious, and
I'm listening to my ideas.
yeah, and if I have something to offer, they're gonna go, oh, that's a good idea. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the trick, in my view. And then you're depending on the gifts of all these people. Every single one of them, you know? Guys was, you know, some woman's assistant, prop master is coming up with like the stuff that Phil Knight found, you know, his waffle from the shoe, they found it on eBay. Like, that's an extra mile, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you make people feel like it matters and you give a shit and that they're contributing and, oh, cool, let's do a close-up of that. That's really fucking cool. They'll die for you. They'll go all the way, and it changes the whole
And
dynamic.
if you bonus them.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt either. Yeah.
You know, it's not just all, you know, it's
not just rah,
there's,
rah,
there's an
thanks a
actual
lot.
like codified.
Why did Joe stop? What the fuck? Why is it paused? Why is Joe paused? Joe Rogan paused. Why paused? Jamie? The fuck? Maybe it'll come back on. This is the only reason I came to this stream. You were a 6-month subscriber to the channel. What the fuck got you here before?
Just wait for the end.
Would you go on Joe Rogan? Sure. Okay, no, seriously, what the fuck? Where's my podcast, bro? Where's my Joe Rogan podcast?
Nah, he's
Oh,
right.
cool,
1
let's do a
year and
close-up
him
of that.
also
That's really
only
fucking
here for
cool.
Joe.
They'll die for you. They'll go all the way, and it changes the whole
And
dynamic.
if you bonus them.
yeah, it doesn't hurt either. Yeah.
You know, it's not just all, you know, it's
not just rah,
there's,
rah,
there's an
thanks a
actual
lot.
like codified.
Wait, what the fuck? The audio went further, but like the image froze that time. It ends there. The podcast is over there? That can't be right. I'll fix it in a sec. What if JRE stood for Joe Rogan Experiment? That'd be crazy. Crazy thought experiment, bro. I just walked into the wrong spot. What's the deal, Spotify? Gotta fucking close out of Spotify and open it again. I pay good money for this show. Be back? Hold on. Wait, they just told a funny joke, but you couldn't hear. Hold on.
contributing, and oh, cool, let's do a close up of that. That's really fucking cool. They'll die for you. They'll go all the way, and it changes the whole.
And
dynamic.
if you bonus them.
yeah, it doesn't hurt either. Yeah.
You know, it's not just all. You know, it's
not just rah,
there's,
rah,
There's an
thanks a
actual
lot.
like codified bonus structure to say like
You can hear,
We're
right?
recognizing that shit.
Yeah.
Right? That's like
It's
in
the
your
same as it
paycheck,
was
too.
before?
It's not
It's
just
very real.
bullshit.
And
Yeah.
you guys developed this? Is this something that you like? Kudos to you guys for addressing this, first of all, and recognizing it and having that attitude, because it's so important and it's so easy for big movie stars to just think about themselves and their
Well, we're
own careers.
communists, Jeff. We're from Cambridge.
I like this because Matt Damon and
no,
Ben
but,
Affleck are
but
like
each
actually
deal
so much
has had
smarter
this
than
kind
Joe
of-
Rogan.
Each deal that we've done so far has been
Like, there's no way that they don't know or have an understanding that Joe Rogan has actually potentially caused
retroactively going,
a
hey,
serious
we came
decline in
on, we did
humanity.
a great job as extra
And, like,
money.
he is
Here you
responsible
go.
for
This is the first time
whatever
able
we're about to witness.
Actually create like a schedule where it's like, because, and by the way, we wouldn't have been able
But
to do
he's
that
still
without
just one of the
Netflix. Like,
guys.
Okay, cool.
And that's
You
what's
can
awesome.
Make this work, 'cause we'll give you a
About
shot.
being a
Otherwise,
guy.
We wouldn't have been able to do it. So we had to say, look, we're not asking you to take a cut. But you know, if we can, and we can tell you, if the movie is watched as many hours in the first 90 days as like this movie A, that you all know what it is, then that's, you know, 20% of your set, let's say, right? You should take a hit. So it's like, yeah, you make more money, your bonuses, or it's all just pegged to where you're at, just because that was the most fair idea we'd come up with.
So they gave us like 5 different levels, right? Like the first couple hopefully we can hit, and maybe the third maybe we get, and then it got to like the
It's
fifth
kind
level.
of like single, double, triple,
home run fucking grand slam.
yeah.
The fifth one was 110% of all Netflix viewers or something like that. So it's everybody who has a Netflix account watches it, and then like 10% of them watch it again. And we were like,
No, it's like K-pop Demon. This is
no,
big as
but
K-pop
that's
Demon.
what happened. We were laughing, and then K-pop Demon Hunters came along and actually did that. That's the first movie that's ever. Jesus. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of autistic kids watch that over and over and over.
I haven't seen. I haven't seen it, but I mean, somebody's watching it over and over.
Oh,
and over.
Should you just say autistic kids watch Joe?
The value of it is that because before this, one of the big things, and everybody's fighting over the strike, is like, well, share your shit. There used to be residuals, right?
He's right.
Residuals, and it was only for SAG and a few other things, but it was like, and you knew if you had a line in the movie, and the movie was a certain number, like at the box office, well, you're going to get another $2,000. And that was a big deal. You get that check in the mail, and like, okay, I can pay the rent for another month, and I can do that shit. But then there was this like sort of what constitutes success? Because streamer doesn't actually sell another ticket if you watch that movie, right?
Right.
And it's hard to tell. Well, why did you sign up for this service,
Ratio
right?
king, dude, nice golden
a lot of
kappa,
rules to
bro.
give. The first thing that you looked at when you subscribed to somebody, okay, you're gonna go buy Hulu. What did you watch first? The Bear. Well, The Bear must be creating value for us, but you can't assign a strict numerical value to it because it's like a box office where you can go, well, you know,
We made this
Oppenheimer is
much,
$1 billion or whatever, and you know, that's another $1 billion on our balance sheet because streamers are doing a subscription model. You know, it's, you know, whether it's like a gym membership where in the fucking, you know, first of the year you're like, I'm gonna work out again, I'm gonna buy that annual membership, and you go twice, or you go to the gym every single day, you're paying the same amount.
Also, the weird thing is with streaming, when you're opening up Netflix, it's not like you're going to the movie theater and there's 7 movies playing. You're opening up Netflix and you have an unlimited option list. It's insane how much content. You could waste the rest of your life sitting in front of Netflix and then die and have, you know, millions of hours more to listen to or watch.
You're right. Like when we started researching that and built our own data to poll people and examine all this stuff, it's actually all the library stuff. You said like the new stuff is theoretically what keeps people in a subscription or whatever, but in terms of like volume of time, I think it doesn't come from them, but it looks a lot like, you know, we're gonna watch like Orange is the Black and the episode of Suits and Old Seinfeld and Friends and what, you know, Cupcake War. You know, that's because Americans watch 6 hours of TV.
That's crazy. And then the other 6 hours they're on their phone. Like, how does anything get done? How does anything get done?
True.
When you started to make this film, like what is the process? Like how did you guys agree on it? Like did you guys have it written first
This is even easier than I
Was
expected.
Joe Connor's wrote it.
Joe. So
before you knew you were going to Netflix?
Bro, I like
with it?
Netflix more than my
He came to
like
us with
children.
the script, and we've known Joe for a really good movie. His
I
first
don't
movie
even
was called
talk to
Mark.
them
I don't know
anymore.
if you ever saw it.
Yeah.
It's
No, it's a
terrific.
great movie, yeah.
So we met him way back 25 years ago or something like that. And so we met him back then, and Ben did a movie of his in
Smoking Aces.
04, I think, and so we've known Joe for a really long time and kind of been in touch with him over the years, and he just sent this to us and said, we read it and we thought it was great and bought it for the company, and then we started talking to Joe about how he saw it.
There's so many Joes.
And he suggested that we actually do the movie, and we were like, yeah, why don't we do it? It seems,
Basically, because we like it.
We like
Part of
it,
it's like
yeah.
we're not trying to just do our movies. We want to be, doing movies and everything. We like, respect, and then the way we sort of set it up is such that to try to get historically the way it's worked is
I'm so sorry.
Studio will own an idea or a script or whatever.
Get me off, Bebop.
And they'll say, okay, we want you to do it. Okay, well, how much? Well, how much did you get for the last one, right? And you go, then what's the budget? And then that's how they assign a value to it, right? But like my belief was, well, especially when these streamers are like coming into the market and chasing stuff, is like this movie.
Yo, lawful
maybe worth
good
more,
Mark
maybe worth
Wahlberg.
less, and that like we're all.
Thanks for
just subject to
subscribing
that.
on
So we'll
YouTube
try
or
to get
becoming a
the best
member.
price for it, and we'll all share it, pro rata.
Fuck
And
you!
essentially, that was the same process. We've done 8, I guess, movies or so now, and we took it out, and people wanted it, and then one of the things that was really appealing about Netflix was that they were open to this idea that we've been trying to institutionalize, and was like, okay, great, that's really meaningful, because ideally it becomes a template that other people go, hey, we want to do that thing, and they go, oh, here's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of people say that they would want to do it, but now the template exists, so it's like plug and play. So if you're not full of shit, you really do mean that, then guess what? Just take this.
And it also is going to let you, I hope, like manage the risk. In other words, the argument you always have is like, well, shit, we got to invest all this money in the movie, so you can't have your protagonist be too objectionable, that's too edgy, or you can't be R-rated because it costs this much. I get it, right? You're going to put all your money into it. You don't want money to disappear. You want to make money. Okay. So with, like when we wrote the first movie that we're doing, Good Will Hunting, it was like we knew that had to be a cheap movie. People talking in rooms to each other because no one's going to put a bunch of money into a movie.
And do a movie with us.
Two assholes that no one heard of. So it was like, okay, what can we do that's interesting and try to keep it as inexpensive as possible so that we can make the argument that someone should make a movie. That same logic like carries through every time you're asking somebody to invest in something. So what I'd like to have happen is to say, okay, now that we know there's a reliable system where we understand that like in success we'll actually benefit, we can lower, the price up front for you so that you can have a low barrier to entry so that you can take risks so that we can do something.
It was almost good.
That's an original idea. That's that's an Oppenheimer or Sinners or from Marty Supreme or whatever it is. And then if it's successful, we're not all sitting here like assholes where, you guys walk off with all the money, and you can have that happen in an ongoing way so that you can make more interesting stuff.
A lot of the stuff that was going on
drama.
with strikes was centered around AI and what AI is going to do to the business. Like, where do you feel is going to be like the biggest problem with AI? Is it going to be with people's likenesses? Because there's a lot of that. Where
Hold on, just getting into AI. I gotta listen.
Own their digital rights forever, essentially be able to recreate them in any kind of film. And there's also, you're going to have films that are
We
written
lose anyways.
by artificial intelligence. You're going to have scenes that don't involve people, and it gets weird, right?
It gets really weird, but there's actually an
It's
area
tricky,
of expertise for him.
Yeah, we've been spending time looking at this. Like, my belief is, it's sort of like, what's going to happen with electricity? Well, a lot of shit's going to happen with electricity. Some of it's going to be good, some of it's going to change stuff, some of it's going to be like, this is going to be, shit that kills a bunch of people. Like, it's opening a door that you can't, say, well, talk about it in a kind of a blanket way. But I think with what I see is, like, for example, if you try to get ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to write you something, it's really shitty. And it's shitty because by its nature, it goes to the meat, to the average. And it's not reliable, and I just can't stand it. Right. Now, it's a useful tool if you're a writer, and you're going, what's the thing? I'm trying to set something up. Or
You guys are like, be prepared for a shitty take, and he's literally entirely right.
Some examples of that. I actually don't think it's very likely that it's going to be able to write anything meaningful, and in particular, that it's going to be making movies like from whole cloth, like Tilly Norwood. Like, that's bullshit. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's not. I think it turns out the technology is not progressing in exactly the same way they sort of presented it. And really, what it is going to be a tool. just like sort of visual effects. And yeah, it needs to have language around it. You need to protect your name and likeness. You can do that. You can watermark it. Those laws already exist. I can't sell your fucking picture for money. I can't. You can sue me, period. I might have the ability to draw you, to make you in a very realistic way, but that's already against the law. And the unions are gonna, I think the guilds are gonna manage this where it's like, okay, look, if this is a tool that actually helps us, for example, we don't have to go to the North Pole, right? We can shoot the scene here in our parkas and whatever it is, but then make it appear very realistically as if we're in the North Pole. It doesn't save us a lot of money, a lot of time. We're going to focus on the performances and not freezing our ass up out there and running back inside.
I've not played Pocket in a minute. I'm going to play Gun Pocket and not talk.
Be like driving their car and there's a wind blowing a painting behind them and it look goofy. And now in people use a lot of computer generated stuff, and some of it is going to replace just that. Like instead of 500 guys in Singapore, making $2 an hour to render all the graphics for a superhero movie, there's going to be able to do that a lot easier. There's already laws around and guild guidelines around like how many union extras you have. But also, we've been tiling extras. Like, there weren't a million orcs in Middle Earth. You know what I mean? There aren't in Invictus. There weren't all those people in the stadium. Like, that's something we've been doing. It kind of feels to me like the thing we were talking about earlier, where there's a lot more fear because we have this existential dread. It's going to wipe everything out.
Right.
But that actually runs counter, in my view, to what history seems to show, which is adoption is slow, it's incremental. I think a lot of that rhetoric comes from people who are trying to justify valuations around companies, where they go, "We're going to change everything. In 2 years, there's going to be no more work." Well, the reason they're saying that is
I'm
because
sorry,
they
I
need to
disagree. This is
ascribe
such a good
a
take. He's
valuation
entirely
for
right.
investment that can warrant the capex spend they're going to make on these data centers with the argument that, like, oh, as soon as we do the next model, it's going to scale up to be 3 times as good. Except that actually ChatGPT 5 about 25% better than ChatGPT 4 and costs about 4 times as much in the way of electricity and data. So when I say that's like plateauing, the early AI, the line went up very steeply, and it's now sort of leveling off. I think it's because, and yes, it'll get better, but it's going to be really expensive to get better. And a lot of people were like, fuck this, we want ChatGPT 4, because it turned out like the vast majority of people who use AI are using it to as companion bots to chat with. So there's no work, there's no productivity, there's no value to it. I would argue there's also not a lot of social value to getting people to focus on an AI friend who's telling you that you're great and listening to everything you say and being sycophantic. But that's sort of a side issue. I think for this particular purpose, the way I see the technology and what it's good at and what it's not, it's going to be good at filling in all the places that are expensive and burdensome and make it harder to do it. And it's always going to rely fundamentally on the human artistic aspects of it.
Well, I think the more it becomes ubiquitous, the more people are going to appreciate real things that are made by real people. You still appreciate a handmade table. You're gonna appreciate did you see?
This is where Joe thrives.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Great.
Yeah,
Follows it up with something so basic but true.
it's terrific.
When she's in a scene, you're just like, Jesus Christ! Her fucking lips are quivering. Like you believe everything that she's saying.
But you're right. People want that.
You can't fake
cassette
that.
tapes.
Right.
I'll say, I did this interview with Dwayne Johnson because when people are in these awards things, they sometimes
Flex.
have other actors in it, And I did this interview with Dwayne, and I asked him. There's this scene in The Smashing Machine where he's overdosed on drugs and his buddy comes to see him in the hospital.
Yeah.
And it really walloped me, this scene. I thought it was so great. And I asked him, and I was just like, can you just tell me about this scene? Did Benny Safdie directed it? Did Benny write that? Did you work on that scene with them? He goes, no, we actually worked on it together. And I go, well, how did that scene come to be? And Dwayne goes, well, my father was an alcoholic. And I don't remember if it's substance abuse or alcoholic, but I didn't know the man. I don't want to impugn him, but he had a substance issue, whatever it was. He goes, and when he would talk to me, that's how he would defend himself. It was almost a bargaining thing, because there's this thing when this guy comes to him, he's overdosed, and Dwayne's amazing in this scene. He's going like, yeah, isn't it crazy? And then I woke up and I could hear him, but I couldn't really hear him. And you see him, and he's kind of tap dancing, and his friend finally kind of holds his feet to the fire. And at that moment, Dwayne literally starts to burst into tears and just pulls the hospital sheet up over his face.
Thank you, Aiden.
And it's like, I mean, it's just, it was, I'm not doing it justice if you haven't, I mean, I know you've seen it. I know you've seen it, yeah. But,
it's like the one
said,
good.
yeah, so
Well,
he
okay, there's a lot of
explains
good scenes in
about
that
his
movie.
father
That
and
movie's so fucking slow and boring.
And when my mom was diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer, with an oncologist,
But yes, that was a good scene.
and when he gave her the news, she pulled the sheet over her head. And I looked at her and she just looked at me. And I was like, all right. Like, so that, right, is 2 traumatic events from this guy's life, from his life experience. And the actor in him, right, sees this scene, goes into his memory, pulls these 2 things out, understands that they're appropriate for this scene, and he can marry them together in the scene, and then he goes and performs it that way. And a dude walking in off the road goes to the movies, sees this, understands somehow that it's fucking real. I didn't know why. That's why I wanted to ask him, how did that scene come to be? I genuinely didn't know. And made me
Talk about the
tear up,
smashing machine
you know.
with the rock.
That is,
And
there's no fucking
technology
AI
is
that can
just-
do that.
No, it's a whole lot more than photorealistic images.
Yeah, that you could have an AI understand Dwayne's face and move his face into different. No fucking thing could ever do
The
that.
complications of real life experiences
Yeah.
relayed.
That is a completely human. That is an artist. That's a piece of art. Right? That comes out of a lived human experience.
That movie gave me so much anxiety. There's moments where Emily Blunt is
She's
arguing
so
with him.
fucking good in
She's
that
so
movie.
good.
I really said I like that. I think that's the best she's ever been. I live, we live in the same building in New York. She's like a very dear friend of mine, and I was like, I really think that's the best she's ever been. And then I blurted that out to Chris Nolan, and he kind of stopped and looked at me like. He didn't say it, but he was kind of like, she's pretty fucking good in my movie, too.
Well, she's great, period.
She's great, period.
She's great, period. But there's something about that. Well, I knew Mark. I knew Mark from, I met Mark in '97 when he was fighting in the UFC. So I knew the whole journey of him. And I was so happy for Dwayne because it was a film where instead of being this fucking superhero, blockbuster Hulk of a man, he gets to be that.
He's
but
small
be
man, not big man.
A great actor. And you can't really get a person to look like that, to express emotions and he was Mark Kerr.
I know.
If you know Mark, I mean, it was fucking great acting.
I completely forgot it was him, and somebody who'd seen it before told me that was going to happen. And I was like, all right, we'll see. And it was like from the second it started.
It didn't get the credit it deserved in terms of like the amount of people that went to see it, but I think overall in time people will appreciate it.
That's what people will go back to.
Yeah, because it's a movie about MMA, so a lot of people are like, I don't want to see a movie about a bunch of fucking meatheads.
It's definitely worth
But it's
watching.
not. It's
It was
a
just so
movie
slow in a
that
movie
happens
theater.
to be around MMA, but it's a great movie. The scenes are fucking fantastic.
fantastic.
The acting
Yeah.
is so good, and
Absolutely.
even the fight scenes, they're so realistic, man. It's really like I saw all those fights. They've recreated those fights about as good as you can get, and just his crazy struggle. And you know the story behind the documentary, The Smashing Machine?
No.
So the Smashing Machine was made when Mark was at the height of his powers and pride, and he was the most terrifying guy in the world. He was 265 pounds of solid muscle, just blowing through people, didn't even look like a human being. Everyone was terrified of him. No one knew he was a drug addict. No one knew. And he spiraled out as they were filming, and he let them film him. Let them film him shooting up. Let them film him, like, bringing this giant bag of pills with him and all this shit everywhere and just completely falling apart. While they were supposed to be capturing this hero movie
Right.
of the greatest fighter in the world, he's falling apart, like, live in front of the documentary. It was a fucking amazing documentary.
I gotta see it.
It's really good, but I was so
I love
happy
when
that
Joe
they
gets
put
to
it
talk
in
about something he
film.
cares
And
about.
was
I
so
know you
happy
have to
that
like
it
speak
gave
his language,
Dwayne a
like
vehicle
punch,
to show what he's really
punch-
capable
yeah.
of. 'cause
punch
he's
sport,
so limited by
fight
a lot
sport,
of just the
punch
parameters
hard.
of the roles that he was in.
Yeah,
And then he just suddenly becomes so eloquent.
Galactic success. too,
Yes.
right. I mean,
Yes.
it's
that's the other thing.
he had to, and will continue to have to push for that, right? Because it's
Yeah.
what he wants. right?
Yeah.
And not because what they're going to continue to want him to do is, you know, the thing that makes them money.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
I suspect that his experience and feeling about this movie.
from the conversations
different
I've
than
had
the
with him,
movie.
yeah, this has changed him. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like this thing that these superhero guys have to do, where it's like something has to change.
Do
because
not call
otherwise you're gonna
The
be
Rock a
boxed.
superhero guy.
And
He was
with a
only
guy that looks
fucking
like that,
Black
it's so
Adam.
easy to put him in that box. And so you see him now; he's thinner. He's lost a lot of weight. Like Dave Bautista went through a very similar thing too, right?
Yeah,
He wanted to be, he wanted to have more range. Wanted to have, you know, more opportunities to do exciting and different, challenging things.
Well, I think also coming from where he came from, right? It's like you talk about going from TV to movies in the old days. Try coming from wrestling to like the biggest movie star in the world, right? It's incredible that he did that, and now he's in this place where he's got this leverage because he's so beloved, and you know that he can kind of tailor what he wants from here on out.
It's hard to bring the audience with you. You're
Right.
Like, no, I know you like this thing, but let me show you something else. You know, it's sort of like you go to the concert, the band wants to play the new songs, play the fucking hits. You know, you know, so he's a little gilded cage. All right, fucking Satisfaction.
Yeah.
No, I love the song too.
Yeah.
You know my acoustic thing that I did. In the blue, you know?
Yeah, I went to see the Stones, and when they were here in town, and there was a few songs they played that were like new songs.
Oh, really?
You see the audience is like, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
They go get a beer.
Okay, get the other one. Yeah, that's what. I mean, but you know, every artist, I guess, has to make that choice, and he's made it, and it was amazing vehicle too, because he still kept that superhuman hulkish frame,
Yeah.
and then but also showed like, God, there's like amazing depth there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think, because it's collaborative. It happens.
This
with other people.
podcast sucks.
That's what movies do. that
All
are
right, dude.
It's just
Go make your own
free,
podcast,
like,
dude.
You feel for people.
Fuck
It's
off.
empathy. It's all made up, right? That's not him. It's all.
Be nice to Joe.
Bullshit. But if you do it really well, like, you know, somebody that seems to really be feeling something, like all of a sudden, I think what it does, it touches like these things in ourselves. Like, you know, it has that same effect that Dwayne went through.
I listen to every
about,
Joe
like,
Rogan.
These moments that
This
were
one
kind
is
of
ass.
burned into his memory,
Dude, this is like
then
a more
really the best
distinct
movies are kind of
conversation and
almost
discussion I've heard on the Joe Rogan
their own
podcast
fucking,
in like at least four
when my
4 to
father
5 years.
died, or I went through this with my kid, or fucking, I feel fucking alone and miserable, and here's this like hopeful moment that someone has to go, maybe I can do something. You know, they inspire you, they touch you, they move you, and it's the thing to go for. The other thing is, you know, is to tell the lighter story. They go through the more typical sort of tropes of it all, and
Either way, you're in somebody else's perspective for a few hours.
Yeah.
And hopefully it breeds compassion.
Well, when it's done right, there's a magic to it where you forget that it's happening and you're there. And the most amazing trick is when it's done by famous people. You know, I was talking to Ethan Hawke about this. There's a scene with him and Kevin Bacon when in that movie with Julia Roberts about the end of the world. I forget the name of it. Tomorrow something.
Yeah.
People will find it. But it's great fucking movie. But there's this scene where he's trying to get, he's talking
What
to
movie
Kevin
is he
Bacon.
talking
Kevin
about?
Bacon's got a gun to him. And it's
Yeah, I know.
I know that's Kevin Bacon. I know that's Ethan Hawke. It doesn't matter. Like, you're fucking locked in. You're locked in. You're like, oh shit. Like, that's the magic. And he was like, but I'm locked in too. Like, it's like a hypnosis. It's like everybody is in the scene in a very bizarre way. Like, you have the lines, but you're living it. And that's either done or it's not done. And when it's not done, you could tell someone's kind of just performative.
You feel it when you're watching.
Yes.
If it does that thing and it pulls you
Yeah.
in, then it's happening.
That's the magic of film.
And sometimes you trick people, I guess, but for the most part,
For the most part, you don't.
Trick
if
some
you're
people.
feeling it and it's really happening,
Yeah.
it's much
People,
more like
other human
other
beings
people are feeling it too.
recognize human beings experiencing real shit.
Yes.
They
It's like
really
these
do.
mirror
That's
neurons. Like, I know what sorrow looks like.
Yeah.
Without having to fucking, I can't break it down for you, or I even, you know, we all know kind of what, like, oh, he's a little anxious right now, or did I maybe offend him, or, you know, all these little things. And when some, like, in the rare moments when these big feelings or the things happen, you feel it too, you know. And you usually, like an example is this old saying about like you know, actors try to cry, people try not to cry. Like, because when you're really experiencing that shit, you don't want people to see it. You want to hide it. You want to. No, I'm okay. I'm fine. You know, it's like.
You want to pull the shit.
Oh wait,
up
I just
a
realized my sharpening filter isn't on the
But
new
the other thing
window.
that's really interesting from
I'm gonna
our
get
side
copyright
doing
claimed.
it,
Hold on.
He and I have talked about this a lot. Is, and I've always said publicly, like, great
There we
acting is
go.
good enough for both of you. Like, when you're in a scene with a great actor, that thing that Ethan's talking
HD.
about, that hypnosis or whatever you want to call it, that energy, that place where you go, right?
They're bringing you right with it.
It's like a
doing all the
fucking
work,
tractor beam. They will suck you right in with them, and like as quickly as you look into their eyes, and you're like just there. And it's like, and it's not like, it's like riding the easiest wave you've ever ridden in your life. You know, it can be the hardest thing in the world, and it can be the easiest thing in the world. When you're with a great actor,
Yeah, that's a real paradox. It's like all the stuff that I'm the most proud of, the weird thing about it is felt very easy at the time. And the shit where you're banging your head against the wall trying to get blood from a stone and killing yourself and the whole thing, and it just it ends up fucking feeling empty. And the thing about the stuff that I'm proud of is my insecurity is like, should be harder than this, right? Are we like we working hard enough? Are we get, you know,
Right.
and learn to kind of just trust that. God, let's just keep going.
Well, there's some scenes in this movie, without giving too much away, where there's conflict between you two guys that seems so real. And that's even harder to recreate because you guys are good friends. And you're making the movie together, and you've got this scene where you're acting in this, and with the conflict with the two of you guys in the movie. But it's very fucking real.
The reason that it was real is that I like that scene. The reason it works, I think, is because he's coming at me, and he really needs to know something, and I'm completely blanking him. Like, he's going, you gotta tell me what's going on, man.
Yeah.
He's like, it's awesome. Like, what is the thing? And I'm just like literally kind of blanking him in this bizarre way, which like was really frustrating him in real life because he was because that feeling of like, it's fucking tell me, dude, it's you and me. Like when he finally goes, he screams out, I don't trust you right now. That's a fucking problem, right? Which is like what you would say to an old friend, like, what are you doing, man? Like what are you doing? Like, are you like the betrayal? Tell me the fucking betrayal is that,
or tell me the truth.
Lie to me or tell me the truth.
To me and like step outside our whole relationship, and all of a sudden
just
act like
give me this weird look. Just like, I don't know, you know, like. And so when we were doing the scene,
Why is this build actually kind of
really
like
fucking busy.
working?
I could see him like getting.
Yeah,
like,
the one line that wasn't written that I saw that I didn't remember doing was, I would have never fucked you like this.
I would have never
You know,
fucked you like this. Yeah.
Which I didn't even remember saying is, George, I like that, keep that thing, I wouldn't have fucked you. And I thought, like, what is he? And I started watching the playback. It was one of those rare moments again. It was like where it was that thing of you doing all the work by not doing anything, which I didn't expect that to be the choice that you made, and it just was confusing and felt like just, you know, leaving you out in the fucking cold. I think the only thing I could rely on is like, I wouldn't do this to you. You know?
So do you have, in those moments where you're ad-libbing a line, where a line comes, is it just that feels like that's what you say?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like he couldn't stop from saying it.
Right.
You know.
But you have to be working with somebody that makes that okay. You know what I mean? Because the part of your brain that will like govern you or tell you something's not okay, whatever, will step in if it's sort of like, you know, listen, I expect you to put these boxes. And there's directors and writers who really do care about every word precisely, and that, you know, and that's how they do it, and that's fine. And that can be great too. For me, like I find it becomes more interesting, and sometimes better stuff happens if you actually feel like you don't have to say any of the lines. I don't have to say any of the lines in the scene. Then I'll tend to say the ones that feel right. But like it's that fake thing that never happens in life, which is I'm never sitting here talking to you and thinking, what's my next line? What am I supposed to say? And
These
how
guys
should I
should hang
say
out with
that?
my
It's not
wife.
about
She
the
acted like
lines,
she
that's
loved me
not
for
about the
18 years.
What's the scene about? What's happening in the scene?
It's one of the reasons why Curb Your Enthusiasm is so great, because Larry David just gives you a place to get to.
Yeah.
Like
It
you
gives
got
them kind of a loose agenda of what's going to happen.
And then films a bunch of stuff, and everybody figures it out.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that show's about the awkward shit in between when people are missing each other or not sure of themselves
Always,
and a little embarrassed. And
Fucking
maybe
genius show.
It really is.
And people talk like we're talking. Like you occasionally talk over each other. There's a stumble. There's no one like what? What the fuck are you talking? There's weirdness
because what's also happening is that forces you to really listen. Right, and that is the hardest thing to kind of learn for young actors. I think it's really all about listening. And like I did a bunch of movies with Paul Greengrass, and that's how he works, where you just know the agenda going in. You know some basic things that you know what your guy needs going in. Like I was playing a chief warrant officer, and I had to go through a door, and there was a guy, and I needed to.
Dude, actors are just playing pretend.
This is what I needed to know from him. I needed to secure the house with my guys.
No need to over-explain it, bro.
We needed to make sure everybody here was secure. So, and he put me with a bunch of real combat veterans, and we fucking went in, and they're the extras.
Which is another thing that does your job for you.
It's just being around the real people.
Joe putting the cops from Miami, all in these parts, and it just like by osmosis, you feel more legitimate. The thing feels more authentic to the audience. You don't know why, because you don't know what the fucking culture is of the tactical narcotics team in Miami. But when you see the real guys, you kind of, you're like, yeah, that seems right.
And Miami was a perfect place to have it, too. Yeah.
Well, it's also specific to this because it's based on this real tactical narcotics team in Miami. And the guy who ran this guy, Chris Castellano, is Joe's friend, and he's the guy that my character's based on. So Chris, we went, we rode along with Chris down there. We went with that team and watched them operate and then hung out with them. And then they came up and they were, all in the movie. And Chris was around as a technical advisor the whole time. So any question, like little details. All right, how do I go through this door? What do I do? What do you do here? What's the protocol here? All of that stuff is kind of overseen by him.
That whole fucking town is so. Did you ever see Cocaine Cowboys?
Yes.
Yeah. The entire fucking graduating class of the police academy one year either wound up murdered or in jail.
That's what happens when all of a sudden push so much fucking money into something. Oh yeah. Right? And it's like before they.
The only actor I'll take advice from is Jared Leto.
There wasn't even a lot of stigma. It was like cocaine, whatever.
Well,
it's kind of rich guys, fun drug. But,
I don't know what to tell you.
Some statistic about like. The amount of money in the banks in Miami was like the same as the rest of the country.
More banks per
if you're
capita
17, blonde,
than anywhere
and have
else
Instagram, and you DM him, I guarantee you he'll give you advice.
They literally got away with it.
Have you ever flown over Bimini? The
no.
So if you ever fly over Bimini, there are all these like Cessnas underwater. All these planes like around the island, because what they used to do, Bimini's like the closest, it's 50 miles off the coast of Florida. They would come in with a plane full of drugs and just crash the plane into the water. They would land it
on purpose?
On purpose, because there's no runway on Bimini. There's no. It's
like fuck it, we're gonna dump the plane in the
water.
They would
have
have
10 cigarette boats, like a flotilla of boats waiting.
To be honest, I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about now.
They'd offload the drugs.
I've been focused on the game.
Right, and then the Coast Guard figures it. They're always coming for them. That's why they have 10 boats. They throw the drugs into one of the boats, and they got a 1 out of 10 chance of making it. They just scatter, and the Coast Guard goes after one of them in hopes they get the right one. And it's not. It's just like, no, it's just taking a cruise tonight. That's the problem, officer. But the planes are still all submerged. Like the water's so clear you can see.
How many fucking Oh wow!
Oh, there you go.
That's crazy.
Wow.
How many fucking planes are out there?
I flew over it 20 years
Jamie
ago.
pulled it up.
I mean, there's. Yeah, I don't know how long. But if you think of probably the cost of one of those little Cessnas, probably wasn't. I mean, with the amount of drugs they were moving on. There you go.
Fucking wild.
They're kind of landing where it's sort of shallow.
Yeah, they land in like
we can swim.
5 to 10 feet of water, and what do they land at? Whatever, 55 knots. So you just try.
Oh, that's nice too. Like, yeah, it's not bad.
Wow. You won't be comfortable. But, Sully landed at 737.
Yeah,
right. It was.
Right. Yeah. Fucking wild. What a crazy part of our culture that happened.
Yeah.
That the whole cocaine run during the 80s in particular, like Miami Vice, all that shit. Like, it's like it shaped the entire country.
For sure. I just remember that one guy in that documentary. He was like, I think he was from Boston. He was like the pilot. He figured out that he was like, it was somebody talked, and he knew that's the only way we would have been caught. He was like, I had it all. He was clearly really smart.
One of the guys did too. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of people out there that were like, yeah, we had a nice run. That's why I got 8 houses. You know, it's like,
oh yeah, that's one of the real crimes that people got away with, was bringing cocaine into this country. There's a lot of people that got very wealthy, including Banks, which is just really crazy.
Banks with a jewelry company.
How long until Joe brings up cancel
Jaguar
culture?
dealerships in Miami than everywhere else in the country. It's like, doesn't pay to ask questions.
Gotta come up.
I guess a lot of people like our cars here.
You don't say, all cash. Sure.
Yeah, we can make you a deal, sure.
Well, how many backyards in Miami still to this day have bags just buried somewhere that nobody knows about?
Probably worth just checking.
When you buy a house in Miami, just dig the yard up.
Well, at least find out who owned it before you. Oh, he's
Yeah.
Get a truck. Get a tractor. It's time to dig up the backyard. I mean, one of those guys in the films had millions of dollars just buried in his backyard. They had nowhere to put it. They were making so much
Well, I
money,
got
they
him,
just
at
had
least.
to bury it places. Well, it's why it's a perfect backdrop for the film, you know, because, you know, that the situation that the cops, without giving away too much of the plot, but the situation that the cops are dealing with is a very situation. I mean, so many DEA agents turn dirty. So many cops turn dirty. It's because they just can get
so
confronted.
much temptation.
Yes.
It's like you take these people, you know, you got like 6, 7 people that work for a living, the same bullshit they have to deal with, and there's $20 million. You know, and it makes for great like drama too, even like you know, with the performances, because all of a sudden somebody's thinking like, okay, how are they gonna react? You know, who's the first person to say, you know, I'm gonna have to turn this all in, you know, and like getting to play that shit. And for me also, I like, you know, without being, you know, sanctimonious or preachy, because I really think movies, we're talking about like what they do well. What they do very poorly is deliver messages or lecture. As soon as you get into that thing, the audience is like, I'm gonna go to church for that or fucking school. I don't need that shit here. But I like that what was underneath it is like, this is a fucking hard job, and that there's a lot of there's a lot of value. Like these characters, the ones that are trying to do their job, are trying to get through the day. And just at the end of the day, have done their job like they said they were going to do, you know, adhere to the fucking
First time
ethics that
chatter,
they're supposed
in a
to.
way,
At
we're
the end
all
of the day,
dumb in our
they're
own
asleep,
ways,
and I believe
you
there's
know?
some value in not
Everybody is.
stealing the money, or you know what I mean, and doing all that
Yeah.
shit. And that's the win. The win doesn't have to be get away with the bag of money or fucking, you know, save the world from, you know, the evil scientist laser beam or whatever. It's like, at the end of the day, if you can fucking live with yourself and say, look, you know, I acquitted myself according to what the fucking expectations were and what am I true to my word. And I think there's so like that's a I don't know that affected me. I found that kind of moving, and you can't do it if you create like if you know, to credit to Joe's script, like just two-dimensional characters. Oh, I'm the hero, I'm the villain, or this person would never do that. They all have to be real people. Like you would be subject to like temptation, and money just represents whatever that thing is you think you want, or that's going to make your life better. You know, it's something different to everybody, but you know, and especially when you're facing like you know the custody thing or the you know the sick relative or whatever it is. It's a real thing. Nobody's immune to that kind of temptation. You know, sometimes I think it's cavalier to be like, oh well, you're dirty. You're not. People in a very tough situation a lot of times. They're feeling like undervalued. It's dangerous. Like I get fucking pissed. I get yelled at. I get shit on. You know what I mean? Like I'm out here grinding every fucking day. You know, it's. I'm sorry for what I'm about to do. It's a lot to ask, and I think it's worth kind of making that heroic without sort of indicating too much.
No, it's really well written because there's no suspension of disbelief moments. And that's hard to do in a big blockbuster action movie. There's always one moment in a movie where you're like, what? Come on, how did he do that? You guys don't have any of those. There's none of that, and I loved it.
No
I
plot
loved
holes.
That aspect of it too, where it felt like all of it was like I believed it.
It was real.
That's really a credit to Joe and his taste, and that's why we really thought like this guy knew how to
Whoa.
make art. He kind of obviously
Blue team
understood
upset.
this world and understood that it has to, above all, it has to feel real. And that's why he was open to like, okay, whatever happens, you go in a line, maybe it's good. You can't get your feelings hurt if it's not, but like you got to be able to take that shot. And we're all down, trying to spend time with people. I mean, I kind of feel for these cops, a bunch of actors descend on you, and what shirt is that?
It was like that Michael J. Fox, James Woods movie. Remember that movie? I forget what it was called, but Michael J. Fox is an actor following around James Woods. He's studying him for a character, and James Woods is a real detective, and he's just like, get this guy away from me. I kept thinking of that.
What kind of hair gel?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like all these questions, But they were very tolerant of us, which was nice and really, really helpful, because it's always details. It's always details. It's like how fastidiously do you kind of mine for those details? Because I've always been convinced that like an audience, it's like you were saying, they don't analyze why they don't believe something. They feel it. They just don't believe it. Yeah. And it's usually because those details are you don't get those.
And that's the only thing. Like I'm not great at imagining something. Let's invent this. I was just saying everything that I've done that I like has been a result of something I found in research. Like the town. I went down and just went through all the prisons, out there in Massachusetts, federal prisons, state prisons, and sat down and talked to guys who robbed trucks and banks. And, kind of sometimes, you want to know, and then sat down with the FBI guys and was like, what are they like? And the great shit, for me is that, and I'm in like at Walpole or I'm in the prison of Dedham or whatever. And I'm to some guy I said, like, after talking for 2 hours, I was like, is anything just fucking weird ever happened or fucked up? Anything you remember? Great job. And I was like, yeah, one time, we were coming out of this thing, we robbed this truck, and we had the mask, we got the switch car, we drove around the corner, whatever, we pull up, we get out, this fucking gun, the mask, the whole thing, and we look over, and it's this cop sitting there doing construction. And I was like, right then, he tell me a story, I was like, oh shit. I was like, what happened? He goes, no. He looked at us, we looked at him, he looked the other way. Whoa. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, he didn't want to end up on the walls of VFW. It was like,
these guys with full automatic weapons, masks on, switching cars.
I was like, all right, I'm putting that in the movie.
And it's a great moment in the town, like in the movie, because Renner, they all jump out of the things and here it is. It's great, and it's this awkward. They just stop. And this dude, he sees them. They see him. Nope. He turns away. It's such a great, but that's straight from research, which I always loved that story. And then the line is here. He put it here.
And one on up at the wall of the VFW. Yeah, wow. It was a great,
It's a great line.
It was such a simple explanation for what do you think he did, and why, and that's exactly what it would have been. Like that guy, the next day's picture would have been up in the wall at the VFW. Yeah. And he knew it, and everybody knew it. He said he didn't want to do it like that. That was, and that kind of stuff is, I don't know, it's very human calculations and interact. I mean, it's a very extreme version of it, but it also doesn't have. Sometimes it's not dramatic at all. It's like, yeah, that was an easy decision. And the guy never says anything. No, I didn't say anything.
Sorry about Movie Game Monday. Yeah, no,
it's. I can't really blame him.
Movie Game Monday observes MLK Day.
Movie too, man. And I knew a lot of people like that.
That's why Joe Rogan is on.
From boxing gyms and stuff. I knew a guy who was a hitman for Whitey Bulger. Really? I knew a guy who's a friend of a brother of mine who went to jail for that, for murder, for killing people.
Damn, that's crazy,
I lived
Joe.
in Newton. I grew up. I lived in Jamaica Plain for a little while. I lived in Newton, but I spent a lot of time in Boston because I was fighting. I was mostly training, and so I was around a lot of these very shady characters who were in the fighting world, and a lot of them had backgrounds in crime. One of the guys that I trained with, he went to jail for a little while, and then he got arrested because a guy got killed. And they broke every bone in his body with a hammer and kept injecting him with cocaine to keep him awake while they were doing it. And then they cut his hands off and cut his head off. And this guy that I used to train with got arrested for that. Yeah, he didn't wind up going to jail for that. He's dead now, but he was somehow or another. at least peripherally involved.
Yeah, well, I didn't do any fighting, but I went around and found a lot. I mean, one of the things about being an actor is people will talk to you. You know? It's just a fucking amazing gift. Even if somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I killed guys," you know, they'll just come out and like, it's kind of the rules all of a sudden don't apply. Like these guys in prison, what the fuck are they gonna talk? You know what I mean? But they're like interested in it for whatever, and you know, so
He was hanging out with Alec Baldwin.
And then I had like, you know, we had people around that movie who everybody knew. Yeah, he did that job. He never got arrested, and so like, yeah, people, you know, meet, you know, and talk to them, and it's interesting because such a good lesson for doing this job, which is that they're never how you think they're supposed to be, like the murderer person.
Right.
You know, there's always something a little. I remember one guy was supposed to be like this really violent, kind of loose cannon fucking guy who supposedly had done all this shit, stabbed and killed Nathaniel Hall and shot these guys in a robbery, and he like shows up with his polo shirt kind of tucked in, you know. He's, how's it going? You know, just like I never would have fucking put this guy on fucking killing 4 people. You know what I mean? You think, yeah, have a good time. I love that one movie, and you just think, fuck, man, like, this is, and it's a really good lesson for like, you know, you tend to read a script and okay, this guy's the tough guy. He's gonna be the. It's like you work with these guys. Have the fucking like the opportunity to train with these deltas. Like, you know, it's the most elite.
Our team just
special
fucked
forces
on them.
Combat fucking.
That was crazy. So let's just win the game. Just win the game.
Just new. There's been less than 900 guys ever in the history of Delta. You meet them, and they're not the biggest guys. They're not the toughest guys. They're not trying to fucking be hard, and you know they're the most relaxed at ease. And it's, you know, I found myself just being like, finally I was like, what? Can I just ask? What do you think makes somebody like qualify for the Delta? Like, what's a good Delta operator?
Back in mid?
No, we win the game right here. Get in the pit.
Are you sure?
Yes, get in the fucking pit.
Let me tell you, no, it's really not like my job. I appreciate it. Very big fucking difference. He's like, you saw problems. Like, no one's trying to kill me. See, that's the thing. But that was the closest insight I got to it. I've always kind of thought
Told
about,
you,
like,
team.
guys like Brady or something. There's guys that just don't get tight, and that they are kind of able to problem solve when the problem is like
Hassan
well,
fake rage.
crashed, and we're 200 miles inside Afghanistan, and we're outnumbered fucking 6-1. How do you think we should get home? Like, just having your wits about you to make that calculation, while, by the way, you're in a fucking gunfight and things, you know. I'm sure that does make, because those are the people where I'd be in a fucking panic and have no idea what to do, and you get like attracted to the person who's like seems to have it like, hey, it's good, we're gonna be okay. Everybody get your shit, we're going over here. You'll just follow that guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, but it's a good. It's not always the most. Maybe it's just because they're so confident. They're not like I don't need to prove that I can kick.
What do you want to see out of the remaining ornaments I have?
It's kind of like. It surprises me how those kinds of like extraordinary experiences in people or extraordinary people don't always manifest themselves in how they show up.
Right, we have caricatures in our head of what like these tough people are like. Well, you see that about MMA fighters. Like, there's a lot of MMA fighters. You meet them, they're like the sweetest,
your coughing
nicest,
bit, your longest
people
bit
in the
ever.
world.
I remember going to one of the events in
it's gonna
LA,
have big payoff.
Staples, and I was backstage and was talking to one of like the lawyers for the UFC about. We were talking about Conor McGregor, and he was telling me a great story about him.
Shut the fuck up,
And
Billy.
this guy walks up, and he's in a like chinos, like khaki pants, and
Oh
like
my
a
God,
button-up,
I'm trying to listen to
like,
Matt Damon.
kind of business shirt with spectacles, and he's very small, and I kind of don't really regard him, and I'm still hearing this story, and then Patrick goes, Matt, do you know Henry? And I turn, and it's Henry Cejudo, and I'm like, this fucking guy could wreck me right now. Like, absolutely fucking destroy me. And he is the guy that some dummy would try to pick on.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, he's not carrying himself. Like, he just is the thing, you know? And
find out a little bit too late.
Yeah, don't find that one out late. Yeah.
A lot of guys do, unfortunately. Yeah, that's it's well, they don't have to prove themselves, right? They do it all the time. The same with Delta Force guys. Like this idea, like this, like outwardly brash, tough guy. Usually, that kind of machismo and
You just said Delta Force
that's
doesn't have
bullshit.
to prove
That's-
themselves.
You're using that because you're insecure. The secure people are very calm and genuinely.
Delta
very
Force is not a good
Really
example
nice.
of that,
Yeah,
Joe.
That's been my experience.
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy, right?
Yeah,
You would
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Beautiful too, you know. I kind of like, what a great guy, and you feel like that's nice of you to be so sweet to me because you obviously don't have to be. You know what I mean?
right,
I'll just
right.
give you my watch if you wanted that.
Yeah, no, it is a fascinating thing. It's like we have these ideas in our head, these caricatures, you know, of what a tough man is, what a good woman is, what a this is, what a that is, and as I think one of the beautiful things about film, when a film is really good, is you see these complex characters, and it sort of like reformulates in your mind like what a person actually is.
Yeah, it's seeing all kinds of
True.
different people.
Yeah.
You know, and
You like learn what it's like to be a woman.
Yeah, look, the fundamental like challenge I think in life and
Poor
is,
things.
is like to find some humility, which means actually thinking you might be wrong about the shit that you're pretty sure about. And it means that like you kind of have to assume somebody else might have a point. You know, it's not like just writing everybody else off who disagrees with you because oh, fuck him, he's an asshole. He's a, you know, like those are things that actually take work to get to. Because the first instinct, because you just defend your idea or whatever, it's easier is to just
that it's a zero-sum game.
Yeah,
somehow.
exactly.
Yeah, that two competing ideas can't exist.
Well, that somebody can't be a good person, like
And
if you
believe
disagree.
it, right,
That's
right.
like if you're gonna decide, you can disagree. We don't believe this. Or I don't know. What about this? Or what about that? But once you find yourself relying on like, well, I need to like zero out this person's humanity in order to defend my idea. I think that's a pretty good indicator that like, there's something wrong with the way you're thinking. Like because it can't be that you're right about everything and everyone else is bad who disagrees with you.
I think that was one of the most interesting things about The Sopranos, is that the main character, the guy that you loved, was a fucking murderer. He was like who would murder his friends. And he was a complete mobster and a thug, but you really loved him.
Loved the shit out of
Cared
that guy.
about
It was so complicated.
I'm rewatching
Jimmy
it
was
with my
so
daughter right
good
now.
at doing the
He's-
part
he's-
that you found yourself being like, I know, he probably has to kill him now.
Yeah.
But
I
that's,
gotta kill that.
that's
He was
also
like-
that's
True.
also great a great actor. Like there's a very famous story about Marlon Brando when he did Streetcar Named Desire, and Tennessee Williams, who wrote it, like freaked out because he was making Stanley Kowalski. He was making people empathize with Stanley Kowalski. And Tennessee Williams was
What
like,
the fuck
I
was
wrote him
that?
as a brute. He was like a two-dimensional brute who just came and beat up his wife and and was supposed to be this kind of dark looming force over the play. But Brando was like, no, he's a human being, and I'm going to play him like a fucking human being, and it changed the play. But
Please don't derail the
Williams
chat
was
on
all
BT
over
Layers
life.
bullshit. Talk about me, the game,
Everybody's the hero of
or
their
Joe
story.
Rogan.
Everyone has their reasons for why they're doing it. And people don't set out to be like, I'm just gonna go hurt someone or dominate the world. Like you think, well, I gotta protect what I had. It's like even not bring back this movie, but it's like what I liked about the Rip was it was kind of the slippery slope. That first time you take a little money, and then, I got to cover that. I don't want to go to jail. I think I have my reasons why I did that, but now I've told a lie. Now I got to cover that thing. And now you have guys who both live by this code that's very, hey, you protect the people who are with you, and you got to have this fucking. And so now, it's two people very similar, like by that kind of slippery slope, of ultimately find themselves, willing to kill one. Because and it's really not. I don't believe in that one choice turn. It's like more how do you find yourself? You dig yourself in a fucking hole because you're just covering up trying to fix the last problem that's arisen. And everybody thinks the base is of course the roots for themselves. Is like empathize with themselves. That's what we have to be concerned with ourselves, our needs, our families, our basic shit. It's hard to expect people to go like, all right, and what about like what they think, and I think that's. I think it's a much more honest evaluation of people, and it allows for like complexity and forgiveness and like
Get
that's
fucked.
sort of beautiful about people, like rather than this notion of like, well, we're going to be binary, good or bad, perfect or not, whatever, and any infraction then it's like permanently stains you. It's
Right.
just
Right, that's like what we were talking about earlier about people that have been canceled. That
Oh, here we go.
Idea that one thing you said or one thing you did, and now we're gonna exaggerate that to the fullest extent and cast you out of civilization
In
for life.
perpetuity, yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I would, because I bet some of those people would have preferred to go to jail for 18 months or whatever, and then come out and say, no, but that we can't, I paid my debt. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
Like, can we be done? Like, the thing about
I've thought about that.
You know, getting kind of excoriated
Matt Damon's right.
publicly like that, it just never ends. And it's the first thing that, you know, it just will follow you to the grave, I think.
What's also this problem that people have with people that are in the public eye? They have this like desire to chop them down always. You know, and anybody that stumbles in the public eye, they want to destroy their life. They want to just pile on.
Okay,
And
Joe.
you're not there with them. You don't feel the empathy.
Okay, Joe.
You're not talking to. They're not a human being. It's just text on a screen.
Right. Yeah, it's just like kind of like we're saying, like that kind of sixth grade instinct to be like, oh, he's in trouble. You know, there's this, you know, human, like we have dark, fucked up instincts too sometimes to like isolate people or get joy out of someone else if they're in trouble because part of it's saying, hey, it's not me. You know, so if you can point the finger, everyone's looking over there, we feel safer, you know?
Right.
But it's like, yeah, and to take any forgiveness out of it, you know, is a really fucked up thing because then it makes it impossible, A, to actually go, all right, yeah, I did that, fuck shit, that was wrong, I get it, you know, because it doesn't matter. Once you've said you've done it, you become like an outcast, and I don't think anybody wants to think, you know, like you're the sum total of who you are is your worst moment.
Right.
You know, it's sort of like, I think you want to be judged just as whether you're capable of doing something good or something. It's not to say to forget, you know, there's people that just over and over and over, you know, doing horrible shit, don't care. Right. I get it. No one's trying to, like, absolve that, but you remove the ability to sort of forgive people or look at them in the complicated, or else it's kind of when it becomes those things, it's like get one of ours or one of them, the instinct to get, like, the team, tribal-oriented, that's sport.
Yeah, yeah. It's also like, who wants to live in a world with no forgiveness or redemption? That's crazy.
True, Joe.
Like, that's just denying the very nature of human
I agree.
And that people do things that they regret, and they do, and then they become better people because of it. And
True.
Yeah, that's
people
the
I would rely on the most, like trust my kids with the most, have done shit that they really regret. And, you know, what's objectively wrong? There are people who've been like, I did that, I fucking got it.
Did I cancel his
I got
shit?
myself down this fucking right. Did this,
What just
did this.
happened?
They're able to go, I did it, I'm sorry, it's real, I shouldn't have done it, it was wrong. Those people can become someone that's very trustworthy.
Yeah.
Because you're like, this motherfucker will say.
Did I just cancel Shiv's ult with the...
They'll acknowledge it.
With my
and
two?
You feel good, and you feel much versus someone who tells you like I always get it right. Everything's
Well, yeah, it's about evolution, right? And in our own personal evolution, and we're all in our own path towards that. Like the idea of attacking someone, it's like, oh, so you aced the test? Like, put your pencil down? Like, you nailed being human? Exactly. You're done.
Well, like, if you did nail being human, that's not possible because you forgot about the part about forgiveness, which is a giant part.
You haven't nailed it by definition. If you're out there throwing stones.
It's most of the people that I find, especially when there's someone that's publicly in trouble for something, most of the people that I know that have attacked people have a lot of questionable shit in their past. And it's almost like they're trying to hide that by going on the attack.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if I can point my finger, it's like, no one's going to be...
Yeah. Oh, he's a good guy. Ben's a good guy. Yeah. He's calling them out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but meanwhile, you know...
And you like, yeah. It's like you tell me to see Wake Up Dead Man, the Knives Out, the third Knives Out movie.
Oh, it's great.
And I watched it. I really liked it. I thought it was a really interesting, like, you know, I'm not a religious guy. I don't, like, that's, you know, and yeah, I'm aware of all the, like, okay, you know... There's religion and there's people who's rational. I thought it was a really beautiful movie about like what's the role of grace, you know, and a really honest examination of that, like sitting side by side with you don't believe it, but like, you know, so it's not about like whether you're gonna argue over fucking evolution. It's about like how graceful are you in your life. You know, how much fucking dignity can you afford other people? I mean, you want to recognize that there's maybe something bigger than yourself. And that there's a reason to try to sort of define that grace, to get better. You know, it was really beautiful and kind of rare and really surprised.
I was really surprised too. I kind of put it on and not
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be
it.
murder
I
mystery.
mean, yeah, I loved it.
I still haven't finished the
Yeah, I
new
love
Knives
it too.
Out.
I think it's one of the best of the three. It's
Yeah,
It was my
Are they
favorite.
gay?
those are great. Daniel
No.
Craig is great in that
Maybe.
role.
He's fantastic.
He's
Yeah,
fucking-
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
guy goes from James Bond to that,
Yeah.
and so many other things as well.
So is
Ryan
Josh
Johnson wrote
Josh
it.
O'Connor that who played the priest, because I first saw him on The Crown.
Crown, yeah, I liked him a lot.
So I fucking man, what an actor he is! Really, really good.
How much film do you guys consume? Do you spend a lot of time watching films? I mean,
Well, with the
you
company,
consider
like,
it.
there's a lot. Like if we're working, we're watching cuts after cuts, we're going to editing room. Like there's a lot of kind of work around all the stuff that we have going that eats into a lot of time.
I'm mostly trying to keep up with what people are doing. My issue is really that, like, we've kind of developed a pattern where all these sort of movies that come out are more interesting and very, like, they're all jammed out at the last fucking month of the year, and so all of a sudden, you're trying to race
You got
through all
homework.
these movies.
Yeah,
right.
I got really lucky, like, recently my son,
so much as a bat guy.
decided he wants to like watch movies, you know, and I like giving him shit like, what are you fucking? We always looking at TikTok and shit. Like, let's watch a movie, and you know, he's kind of blowing me off and rolling his eyes, and like, you know, I mean, if you're a dad, you're
His
kind of
son
an asshole.
watches St. John
Like, come
Drowning.
on, Dad, you don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like he told me one time, he was like, Dad, I said, let's watch this movie. I played him the trailer. It was I can't remember what the movie was. It was a good movie, and the trailer was good. And he just looks at it and goes, you know what you guys ought to do? You guys ought to work with some TikTok actors. It's just like, wow.
True.
I went and told the editors. I told Billy and Chris back there. I was like, guys, I got news for you. You guys gotta start. But now he's like, let's watch. Like, what are some movies I should watch? You got Letterboxd. You got into that thing. You know, it's like. So I said, okay, what are the great movies? I'll give you a list. I start giving him a list. They started watching them. And so, I mean, this is like, so it's like, okay, what are you watching? King of Comedy. Like last week, I watched Taxi Driver, King of all these Scorsese movies. And it really was like, oh man,
Letterboxd mentioned.
I know it.
Oh God, did he see my review of
seeing it, I
his
realized how
Nike
much better they were than I even
movie,
could appreciate when I
Ben
watched it when I was
Affleck?
younger. And
You
it
might have seen it.
And it was just the most beautiful fucking experience for me to watch with my son, like taking an interest in it. There's the, you know, the older two have always been a little bit like, yeah, Dad, no, great, but no, hey, you guys want to come to premiere? No, not really. You guys want to come to the set? No, I'm good. You know, and
Well, it's just too much familiarity, you know? You grow up with a dad as a movie star. It's like,
kids got to, and I get it.
Yeah.
You got to be your own person, do your thing. They have all their own shit, and I get, you know, I never expected it from my son, and I don't know that he's gonna, you know, and I wouldn't want to lean on him like, hey, get into the family business. Most of the time, it's just like, you know, we go to like basketball games, baseball, all that type of stuff, and but this was a really, that was like, like so joyful. You know what I mean? To sit there and watch movies with my kid. I was like, this doesn't get better. This is the happiest I may ever be in my whole life. You know, right here, watch this movie.
What it's all
He's
about.
he's telling me what he thinks. You know, it's just like
watching a movie or showing a movie to somebody that you love. It's got to be top 5 experiences.
well, it's great that you guys still love film, you know? It hasn't become just a job. It hasn't become a thing that you do. That you really enjoy it and love it.
Yeah, it was never a job. I mean, it really, like, it was like an absolute dream from the time we were kids. We did fucking high school theater together, you know, like.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
it was like we're lucky to get it, and lucky to the whole idea that you could even, the goal is like to make a living, to not have to be like, well, I'm an actor, you know, slash a waiter, contractor, dental assistant, whatever the fuck it is, you know, like actually I can earn money. I can, and we always figured like, I don't need that much, especially if we didn't have kids.
Yeah.
You know, okay, we can make a living, or it's, you know, maybe it's fucking gonna be dinner theater, or maybe it's gonna be writing, maybe it's gonna be.
There'll be a job
you know.
somewhere that we can find where we can do this and keep doing it. Yeah.
Well, there's something that I mean, I love when people love things. I
Yes,
spend
Joe.
time on YouTube watching people like fix watches. You know, like I don't know why, but I love when people make furniture. I love watching people do things that they really love, that they're invested in. I think we all have that thing in us where we see someone who's got a passion for something, someone who really loves it, and that's what everybody really wants in life, to be lost in the thing you love, to have a purpose.
Yep.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, and
I
even
agree.
watching someone else with true purpose.
Very
It's
addictive.
hypnotic. It reminds me of Joe versus the Volcano. He goes
Oh,
into
God.
buy
Oh,
luggage.
it's one
Do
of
you
our
like
favorite
luggage,
scenes
sir? He's like, luggage is the central preoccupation of my life. Guy's a luggage salesman, and he fucking loves.
He loves nothing more than luggage.
And
it's the greatest scene. I asked Tom Hanks about that when I did Saving Private Ryan. I was like, "Can you tell me about that scene? Because we
Is
love
that
this
the
scene so much."
Crypto.com
He was
guy?
the actor, he's a Broadway actor, I
Fortune
guess. The guy
favors the
came in, he
bold.
worked for like one day in this.
Or
scene.
the brave,
And
whichever
he's
one it was.
So good in that movie. And then at the very end, he's showing him all
Yes,
the
it
luggage,
is.
and Tom Hanks had limited money to spend. He thinks he's dying, and so he basically goes like, "Well, what's the best luggage?" And he goes,
I lost $80,000 because of Matt
"Sir,
Damon.
sir." And he opens up this thing, and there's this trunk, and it's like this music plays, and he opens it, and Tom Hanks is like, "I'll take 2 of them." And he goes, "May you live to be 1,000 years old." Sir." This is the greatest day of his life.
Oh, God. That's amazing. You guys have been in some fucking bangers, man.
True.
Saving Private Ryan, that opening film, the storming of the beach,
Unbelievable.
that might be the most realistic depiction of war that's ever been made.
So I remember reading the script, and there was all these dialogue, all this stuff that was written. I came late because I'm only in the. He shot it chronologically. I'm only in the last, the last act of the movie. And he told me on set. I was saying, how did it go? The beginning, there's all that dialogue with them on the boat coming in, and Steven goes, he just goes, I cut all of that out. He goes, no talking for the first 27 minutes of this movie. And that was when I was like, oh my God. I think Tom says like, "I'll see you on the beach" or something. He's screaming, guys are puking.
Look at the man next to you.
Yeah, remember
He's not gonna live through it.
That was the script, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
It was look at the man next to you. He won't live. You know,
He's gonna die,
He's like 2 out of 3 of you are gonna die. So look to your left, look to your right, and feel bad for those 2 sons of bitches because they're not gonna make it. You know, it was
The
stuff like
legend
that.
from Twitter streams. This is my fucking job.
No, these guys are puking. It's like
I don't get
things
money
up,
from
you
Twitter.
hear tick, 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 you know, and it's just like, and then just boom, and you're into it. Also, they did this incredible, like cinema changing. Yeah,
Open the shutter.
All
took
the
away
way.
all the motion
Yeah,
blur. Skip the bleach process and develop the
I don't, and I don't know if they're going to 22 or 23 frames anywhere, and then maybe, but I just remember maybe it's just the open shutter. Just
But
remember,
when you
you
have the
remember
shut,
that?
but it just means that instead of like the motion blur is what makes something that like moves across the frame quickly. If you look at each frame, it's like a blurred thing, and when you roll 24 frames, it gives you the illusion that it moves across fluidly. And if you basically open the shutter up so you get much more light, each frame takes a super sharp picture, and when you run those together, like the piece of dust goes.
And so the mortar explosions are going, and you get that feeling that you're adrenalized and you're seeing, you know what I mean? And it's just, and nobody had ever done it.
He's
And
the master of the thing.
Yeah,
he understood how to use the tools and combined with a great idea, and that's just masterful. Like that's just how you do it. There's nobody who directs movies who doesn't go, Spielberg. You know?
Yeah.
That's how you do it. I'm glad it's Broadway. It's like you say, one of those things, a guy that's passionate and also, you
What
caring
rank?
about
Number
something.
one.
You know, it's with that much passion is kind of connected to greatness, and it's I think why we love to see that. But sport, fucking, fighting, or whatever it is, there's something that makes you kind of love being alive and also love that person.
I'm not going to prepare for the
you see
earthquake.
Michael Jordan, like that was that whole movie that we did, Airs. It's really all about like what does it mean to be great, and how does it like touch everybody and change everybody and make people want to fucking improve their own lives because somebody's just better at that thing than anybody else in the world. Yeah. It's fixing, I mean, I find that really fascinating. People who are great at something, the mystery of like, what is that like? What does that do to your life? And how did you get that way? What does it take?
What's the cost? Because to truly be great at something, you have to kind of almost abandon everything.
Oh my
seen
God.
that in various ways, like in that kind of just empirical personal study.
On a 6 from.
I haven't seen anybody who I think like qualifies for that who didn't also seem to be really suffering.
100%.
And you're like, damn, you should be so happy. You're the greatest. You've been, interviewers are always like, how do you feel right now? There's that sense that
Playing
like, you never
Dupop
finished.
with the boys.
They can't enjoy
Thanks
it.
for making
Sam,
another shot
thank you for
at
5
when
gifted.
Twitter
If I didn't read it. Techno Head,
it's a kind of a
Trev Dog,
burden, too, in a way.
Bibu Chan, thank you.
I just
Thanks for the
see that,
gifted,
and that's
bro.
why we these heroes and people who are great to, I don't know, flourish, have their life, and have it all in hand. Like, there's all this tragedy and all this stuff that happens too, and that's like you said, there seems to be a real cost.
Well, there's always a massive cost in personal relationships because there's no way you have the time for other things. And the obsession that you have to be the best at something, you have to abandon almost all your concern for everything else. You have to have this single-minded focus, and that comes with a cost for the rest of your life.
ET Layer.
You damage
I don't give a fuck.
relationships, you feel like a piece of shit.
And you see that up close, and like, that's not happening.
Right.
Yo, you don't give a fuck about anybody else? No, I do. I just care about this more.
Yeah.
It's like, so imagine that. You're making the sacrifices and it's causing injury to people and you know it. And you don't want to hurt them, but you can help them. And you get rewarded, it's complicated. Yeah,
it's crazy because you inspire all these people that don't know you, and you ruin all your relationships.
Right. That's right.
Maybe that's why I say don't meet your heroes.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something to it, man. There really is. But it's just, we all grow from it. There's a fuel to watching greatness. There's a thing that hits you and lights you up. Where you want to do more, you want to be better, you want to, whatever it is that you can do, whatever it is you do, you become more, whether it's a great game, a winning touchdown, whether it's a great film, great song. It lights you up. And it's the fuel that we all live off of, that consumes, that we consume to make our culture move forward.
Yeah. There's like a sacrificial element to it, the people that do it, and we all feed off of it, And it feels like, well, that's the person that doesn't get enough out of it,
Right.
Why do I keep falling for girls who break my heart? Joe's not taking viewer questions today.
Films.
Don't be sorry,
like
dude.
When I was a kid, I think I was like 7 or 8 or something when Rocky came out, and I saw it and immediately ran around the block. I've never run in my life. I was eating raw eggs.
Right.
I'm like, this is gonna change my life. Like there's things that happen when you see something truly great that it makes you want to be better as a human being. It makes you
I remember where I was when I saw Denzel Washington play Malcolm X. Went to the movie, watched that movie, and I remember leaving. I was 19, thinking I want to be a better man.
Yup.
I thought that in my mind.
Yup.
Because of what I had seen this actor do and the way, that was the only real conscious thought I had. But I remember
Denzel the GOAT, no cap.
And kind of being surprised by it, And it does. That shit can, it's really touched me. A lot of fucking people's work, and that's why you get that, like, you see people and you want to let them know, you know what I mean, and tell them. And I always think people come to go, oh, hey, I love that movie. I always feel like, you don't have to say that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It makes me kind of uncomfortable, and I don't ever put myself in with those figures who I think are like, oh, but there's these towering giants who have done this. I don't know. It's. I finally kind of arrived at a place where it's like, it was uncomfortable. Oh, I saw Good Will Hunting. It made me want to go out to Hollywood and write a script, and I think, oh shit, I don't know how to go. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, right, man. Like, at a certain point, I figure, okay, you know what? Whatever it is, like, great. That's the thing.
The cost of your fame. That you have to. There's going to be a bunch of people that are going to come up to you and want to say those things to you, and like wanting them to say those things to you is the opposite of the mindset that you need to make those things.
Right, exactly.
Which is, it's so counterintuitive. Like once you become really successful, you make a bunch of great things. It's gonna be awesome having all these people come up to you. Like, no, I'm doing something else right now, and I can't be all wrapped up in the fact that I'm changing your fucking life.
That's why I can't be satisfied or take any fucking
the audio got fucked.
I don't think I'm good enough yet. I need to fucking. You know
That's
what I
happened
mean?
before.
Right, never satisfied.
What did I have to do last time? Let me know if this fixes it. Okay, hold on. This happened last time. My new setup. Sorry he became a demon. Does this sound better? Game is fine? Okay.
Yeah, you can't. And that's the
It was Joe? It was probably both.
Trying to do something great, you'll never be satisfied.
You see it in a lot of the fighters, the same kind of thing. The great fighters.
Well, also fighters have a very small window of greatness. there's only like a certain amount of years we can burn the RPMs at the red line, and then eventually the knees go, the back goes. You start.
Is it earlier than others must be? Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Sorry, the demon
because,
segment
like,
is
Tom
not
Brady is
till like
still
later
elite.
this
I bet he
week.
could probably play football right now. I bet he.
That was a bit of a
How
leap.
old is Tom now?
He's probably 47 or 8 now, probably. Yeah.
I bet he could still play. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, but that's a I mean, that's
We're
a
gonna
very
summon a
specific skill
deity later
position,
this
the way
week.
He played it. He
Sub
you know,
Right,
goal.
but
he had-
running back, no.
Right,
Yeah.
Right.
right.
But at
cornerback,
the
you know,
elite
yeah.
levels of MMA, especially with USADA testing and and now drug-free sport testing, when they are making sure that people aren't on testosterone and growth hormone and all these different things, like you have 9 years. You have 9 years at peak performance. That's legitimate.
How
Like
long's John Jones been there?
John Jones is a freak of all freaks. Because John Jones beat Daniel Cormier when he was on coke. That was one of the funny things he said in the press conference for the rematch. Daniel was talking shit. He goes, "I beat you when I was on coke." I mean, he was getting arrested. He was partying. For when he fought Gustafsson, he beat Gustafsson, and he didn't train at all. I talked to his trainer. He's like, he didn't even show up at the gym. He was fucking never there. He was never training. He could just show up and beat everybody's ass.
I saw a thing on my Instagram feed of a fighter, and I don't know who it was, but he was a heavyweight, and he goes,
This episode has really like evoked like a lot of reminders on like why Joe was like a good podcast host. Like when he has the right people, like it's actually great. He's having good conversations. He asks the right dumb questions for it to like set up the guests to like go into things. And then like Joe will like get excited about his stupid bullshit. It's a shame. He needs more people like people to like corral him in, to hold him back.
I had the chance to spar with John Jones, to work with John Jones, and he goes, I knew about it months ahead of time. He goes, I got my nutrition, everything was absolutely flawless. I got, my sleep, everything was on. He goes, I show up at the gym that morning. He goes, it's me and 5 other guys. He goes, he comes in, I think he went to sleep at 4 in the morning or something. He was out all night, and he goes, he ran through all 6
That's my
of us.
buddy Brendan Shaw.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It was the funniest story. I was like, and he goes, and then I just knew, like,
Yeah, there's
like well,
levels.
that's a level. Like,
Yeah.
but imagine being that elite and realizing there's another level.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Brendan was a top 10 heavyweight, and John wasn't even a heavyweight. John was a light
Brendan
heavyweight.
Schwab.
It was a lower weight class, and he just beat everybody's ass. And he said this was his warm-up. You just get in there and just fuck everybody up. I mean, he has a unique aptitude for MMA, but also he had 2 brothers that were super
Chandler
athletes.
Jones. Yeah, I played for the Patriots.
And Arthur.
Yeah.
And so these guys are super athletes, and so they're beating the shit out of each other all the time. So they're like constantly in competition with elite athletes from the time he was a child. So he was just so tuned into competition, and he was so intelligent. Like his fight IQ was above and beyond everyone's, and he would study tape meticulously.
Well, that spinning kick that he did to that
Stipe Miocic,
Stipe, where he said he. And I think he thanked his Taekwondo coach. And he said he had been working on this one specific kick from both sides.
Yeah.
Because of something he saw on the tape. And he got it off and hit this guy so hard. Not even on his liver side. He hit him on his other side. And you see it shudder through his entire organ structure.
Yeah, his heel was deep into his body cavity,
It was
like
so,
all the way
it
up
was
to his
so
fucking
gnarly.
spine. Yeah.
But he just practiced this one specific. And he was like,
that's what
and he
not
even
just
said, he
the
goes, it is a devastating shot. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a human who could take that.
No, it's like getting hit by a car.
Yeah.
Because when
Getting
you
hit
do
by
it,
a car in one spot
right,
is your
right,
body,
right.
you know what I
the
mean?
size of a foot, the
Yeah,
size of
yeah.
a 13-foot.
Oh, yeah, here it is.
right
Watch this.
He sets him up. Boom.
It's just, and
Why?
it's like, yeah, no, it's over, it's over, it's over.
And this is John
He's just
moving
pulling
up
up
to
clips of
heavyweight
dudes
because
just
light
getting the
heavyweight
shit
wasn't a
beat out of him.
challenge anymore. He decided to become
Joe's
a
in his
division
element.
champion. I mean, John was a freak.
He's thriving.
Yeah. And by the way, that was almost a little bit glancing because he caught him with a bent leg.
Right,
like,
right.
It wasn't
a
even
full
fully
extension, yeah.
extended, which, was even more devastating. But John realized that as a heavyweight, he didn't have the power that he had at light heavyweight, and so he said the most powerful kick is the spinning back kick. So I'm just going to work on that kick over and over again because that's the one tool that I have that can knock a heavyweight out with one shot. That's just
It's not just the physical, he's also like a genius.
Well, he's also like, he's the most meticulous when it comes to game planning and study. He will not take a short notice fight. Even a guy that he fucking beats any day of the week. You can wake him up at 3 o'clock in the morning, he can fuck that guy up. He will not take that fight unless he gets a full training camp to prepare for that fight. Well, it's just, you know, greatness. But John's troubled. You know, John's been arrested a bunch
Paid a
of
2K
times,
bag,
DUIs,
really?
all kinds of crazy shit. And he's, you know, he's a wild fella. And, you know, and that pursuit of greatness, I'm sure, has cost him a lot of shit in his personal life.
Yeah.
But, you know, when he knocked Stipe out and then did the Trump dance in front of the whole world, like, for that moment, he's on top of the world, you know? But then, again, it's like the same thing. You're as soon as you get back, like, what's next? You know? There's another challenge. It doesn't matter how many people love you. Like, it's not good enough. There's someone else.
Do you see Joe and your main monitor? Yeah, I have Joe above YouTube chat
Have the like complete compulsion
for me
to
on
have
my
to
right
get to the
monitor.
next level, and the next level keeps fucking moving the goalposts. You know?
I'll never forget, I interviewed Matt Hughes after he lost to BJ Penn. He lost the welterweight title to BJ Penn. And I'm interviewing him inside the octagon. He said, I'm going to be honest with you, it was actually a relief. And he goes, the pressure of being the champion and having someone chasing you for so ever in the whole world chasing you. He goes, I'm going to be honest. I thought it was an incredibly brave moment for a guy to say that, who is, you know, just this fucking amazing human being, this warrior, to say, I just got to be honest, it's a relief. Losing my title feels like a relief. And I was like, wow, like that is so brave to be that honest in front of the, everybody's like, you just got your ass kicked. It's like, this is a relief. You know, I took a burden off my back. I'll be back. I'm going to regroup, but I needed that. I needed to just step off the fucking top of the hill for a little while. Jesus Christ.
You gotta be like a great actually relief to be able to say something like that.
Yeah.
Again, instead of feeling you gotta hide or pretend.
Yeah. Well, the thing about fighting is everything you try to hide gets exposed. You're exposed completely during camp because they're doing these round where they take like they're taking like, you know, 5 guys and they're
Burgers and fries.
rotating them in with
Sorry.
you. So you're doing 5 rounds with fresh guys. So you got one guy.
I got
who's
5
fucking
guys for you
warmed
right
up,
here, Joe.
getting ready for you, and then you're fucking out of breath. You do a 30-second break instead of a minute, and then they're throwing in these monsters, and you know you're exposed. You're getting beat in training. You're getting smothered in training. You're exhausted. You know, you're always reaching your limits because the only way to surpass those limits is to hit them. You got to hit them, and then they got to figure out where that limit is. And okay, next week we're going to do 1 extra round. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do more strength and conditioning. We're going to push you past wherever your capacity is right now. So you're always breaking. You're always at the point where you can do no more. It's the only way to, and you can only maintain that. Like the conditioning that they get in when they step into the octagon, it's not possible to maintain that.
No, right.
You can only
You have to aim at that one moment, and
yeah, you have to peak, and then if you fuck up and overtrain, which a lot of those guys do, just because they're such savages and they never want to leave the gym, then they don't peak right, and then they come in and they're exhausted, and they didn't recover properly, and then in between rounds they're too tired, and they can't go out for the next round. They're too beat up. That happens too.
I imagine that level of exhaustion has to be just insane when you overtrain.
Oh God!
In an actual championship.
And you realize you can't bounce back, and this guy is fucking blasting your legs with kicks and hitting you with punches, and you can't get out of the way anymore.
Do you think who was it? Was it Khabib who said that they should just do 25 minutes? Just
a lot of people said that. I mean, that's what? Songs are playing. What's going on?
How do you hit my
fucking technology?
The Teskey brothers playing in my pocket.
That's hilarious.
Sorry about that.
Well, Hoist Gracie always said that. Like that was how he fought in the early days.
They just straight 25 minutes.
Because he goes, if we're on the ground, he goes, I don't want them to stand back up again and go in between rounds. And he goes, I need time to cook them. That's what he'd say. Yeah. I mean, that's what jiu-jitsu is all about. Jiu-jitsu is all about staying one step ahead of you until you become exhausted, and you know, and then they eventually finish you.
Like a boa constrictor.
Yeah. I mean, it's the real. But you know, there's this balance of like making it interesting for people to watch. I've been a proponent of no stand-ups. Don't ever stand anybody up. When a guy takes you down, like you get an advantage at the beginning of the round anyway because a striker gets to be standing up when he didn't earn it.
Yeah.
So you should never get stood up in a fight. I don't care if the guy's doing nothing. If he's holding you down and you can't get up, that's how it should be. So it's more realistic, but it's the balance of it being a sport.
People want to watch.
Yeah,
right?
making it, because when people grab someone and take them to the ground, nothing happens, people go, boo. You hear it in the audience, and then the referee gets a little motivated and he stands people up, and I'm always like, don't stand them up.
I never thought of it that way, that the beginning of the round starts to the advantage of the striker.
Always. You're in a position you didn't earn.
Right,
You never got back up. You know, I think they should put them right back to where they were at the end of the round, because it's one fight. It's not 5 fights.
Right.
Tell
So if
him,
you
Joe.
start it standing up at the beginning of each round, that's a new fight.
Yeah,
You're
right.
taking the fun
In a
out of the
way,
game.
you're-
What you're pitching, like, how quickly would the UFC go out of business?
Real quick.
30 seconds they're on the ground, and then it's 24 and a half minutes.
Dude, I'm a terrible businessman. I would give the fighters more money. I would fuck up the whole business model. I would get rid of the cage. I would have them all fight in a basketball court. Just put mats on the ground in the basketball court. I don't think you should have a
fucking
cage.
push this.
I think the cage gets in the way. It becomes a way to get back up, because you press your back up against the cage.
I see.
Stand back up again, and you're in the middle of the center of a mat. It's very difficult to get back up, and that's realistic.
Right.
You know, you're using a foreign object to help you perform. Yeah, but you know, there's the whole macho thing about people fighting in a cage.
Holy
like they
shit.
lock you in there, you know, and match. Yeah, it's just. But I mean, in terms of like
Man, my team can't do
performances and
anything.
Things that when you see like the human spirit elevated to the highest possible place, when two very skilled men or women are fighting in a cage where they prepare.
Thank you,
for
Joe,
this
or
for 3
women.
fucking months. And then
Aggressive
the referee's
Joe.
like, "Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go." It's like that moment, like it's not like anything else in all sports.
I think that's the moment that people show.
Yeah.
Because they build the intent. It's the same with like the Tyson fights or whatever.
Oh,
like
yeah.
now it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And there you can't help but have that feeling once it, you know. Yeah, some fights end up being disappointing, whatever, but that moment is always there.
Well, Tyson was a crazy example of what we were talking about with greatness, because like you could dedicate your whole life. You could fucking get up in the morning at the right time. You could eat all the right foods. You could do all the right training.
Wasn't
But
gonna
then you
help
see
you.
that fucking guy, you're like,
You
oh
just smoke
no,
13 seconds.
there's nothing I can do. I have no chance.
No,
You
no
finally
shit,
look
zero.
at him too. He had the,
Yeah.
just the look in his eye. He was one of the only fighters where you just see the other guy was scared.
Yeah.
Usually they get, at least holds up together where they come off like, oh, I don't know, this guy looks pretty tough. Guys would fight Tyson and just would start and they'd feel that moment
Yeah.
too. Oh shit, they're letting this tiger out and here he comes. It was like,
Well, we're old enough to remember when he was in his prime, and those fights were like executions. You didn't want to pay
I remember
for
when
the
he fought
pay-per-view.
Alex
It was so
Stewart. I swear, I mean, Jamie might be able to prove me wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they cut to Alex Stewart and they
Don't
cut to
die.
when she was crying. And this is when they're coming to the center of the ring, and
my
she.
God.
But by the way, for good reason. Like this
Yeah.
man might kill my husband.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
We're certainly going to beat the fuck out of him, and she knows it, and the world knows it.
And
and
her
guys
husband
were
knows
ready to quit. Remember that dude, Hurricane or whatever?
Oh.
White kid who fought him?
Pete McNeely when he
his
came
guy
out?
couldn't wait to throw the towel in. He had it ready, like, he was ready to go. All right, that's it. Let's go.
The bell rings. He picks up the towel.
Yeah, you got one job. Save your guy's life. You know what I mean?
McNeely's fucked up now too. When you hear him talk, it's rough. It's rough to hear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw him get interviewed recently. That's the dark side of the sport, of MMA and of fighting. You know, like I had Johnny Knoxville on here yesterday, and Johnny Knoxville was
Can only do
knocked
so
out
much.
16 times.
Jesus.
Yeah, like that's what I said. I'm like, holy shit, man. And he seems normal. Like he doesn't seem like he's got brain damage. Now, when you're talking to guys and you know they have brain damage, they're slurring their words and they're still fighting.
Tell me about it, Joe.
Their words all mumbled together. Like you have no idea how much they're struggling.
Yeah.
Like, and they're going to be struggling in a downhill slope for the rest of their life. It's not going to get better. It's going to get way worse. Because the real brain damage occurs like 10 years after the injuries. That's when it really sets in.
Really, it starts, like, just keeps atrophying.
Just keeps getting
or whatever.
worse. I mean, there's some therapies that they can do now. There's like they do in Knoxville did some of it, like this magnetic therapy that they do that re-stimulates neuron growth and oddly enough, mushrooms like psilocybin has been
here we
shown
go.
to regenerate.
Yeah.
Cure a whole bunch of shit.
I know.
It's
Well,
like-
probably always has.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
all of a sudden they acknowledging it. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that's opening the doors for them to acknowledge it is soldiers, because it's always been kind of like a left-wing thing to be into psychedelics. But all these soldiers are coming back with PTSD and drug
Joe's
addiction and a
brain
lot
only
of
works
CTE
on like
from,
a singular plane
bombs
of
blowing up and
existence,
IEDs
left or
and
right.
concussions, and the only thing that's helping them is psychedelics. So it's kind of like in Texas, former Governor Rick Perry has started the Ibogaine initiative. So they're using Ibogaine to help all of these different soldiers, which is ironically the drug that Hunter S. Thompson claimed Ed Muskie was on when he was running for president.
Oh, really?
Yeah, remember when he sank Ed Muskie's?
What is Ibogaine?
It's from the iboga tree, and it is a psychedelic that is in no way recreational. It is a very difficult experience. It's not fun for anybody. It's like a 24-hour trip. I haven't done it, but my friends that have done it say that it's basically like you see your entire life play out before you. You see where all your problems come from. You see where all of your emotional hitches are. Yeah, and with addictions, it has an 80%, I think it's 84% with one treatment. They quit whatever they're hooked on.
What?
Not only that, it rewires the brain. So the physical pathways to addiction, like someone who's addicted to opiates, gone. Completely severed. So you literally don't have a physical addiction to opiates anymore. So with one treatment, 80+% of people.
That's incredible.
With two treatments, it's in the 90s.
My bow is yours.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, and it's been illegal, since like 1970 in this country.
Who game?
The
You
sweeping
say Rick Perry
psychedelics.
has
Act.
like a clinic or whatever. That's
Well, Rick Perry, because he's worked with soldiers and because he's worked with a lot of veterans, that and he's a very compassionate and intelligent man. He realized, like, okay, maybe I'm wrong about all this psychedelic stuff, and so he started getting behind this Ibogaine initiative. They passed it in Texas, and now they're doing it with soldiers, and they're going to do it with police officers. And I mean, police officers experience more PTSD. Like I have a good friend who was a cop in Austin, and he said, and he was also in the military, and he said, what I saw in the military was nothing compared to what I saw as a police officer.
Really?
Because I was seeing death and violence on a daily basis. He goes, when you're deployed, he goes, yeah, you're gonna see some horrible shit, but you're gonna see some horrible shit mixed in, over a course of time, where you go out and things go live. It goes like every day.
Every day you're going directly to
Every day.
somebody who's having the worst moment of their life.
And every day you're pulling someone over and they might shoot you. Like you have no idea. You're pulling up to tinted windows.
Every day one of
You
your
don't know what
buddies
the
like
fuck is
shoots an
going
unarmed
on.
person.
You're running the plate. The license is expired. You have no idea who's in the car. You don't know anything. And you've seen all the videos. We've all seen videos of cops getting shot down, like when they're pulling over a car. We've all seen it. And so these guys are living with this fucking PTSD all the time. And then they have to live in real life. They're supposed to go home, and they're supposed to just be a normal dad and a normal neighbor, and their fucking head is just a hurricane of chaos. And Ibogaine has been very beneficial for those people to just sort of come down and try to find the root of all this stuff and get them off pills and get them on the straight.
That's great.
Oh, it's amazing. I don't know why we got on the mushrooms. Well, Ibogaine, because
Because of you, Joe. That's how.
During the presidential elections, he started spreading these rumors, and it's in the documentary. What is that documentary? Is it Fear and Loathing? Gonzo, that's right. In that documentary, Gonzo, he talks about it. So he's getting interviewed by Dick
No, Joe, that
Cavett.
was the book
And
we
he
were
goes,
talking about
he goes,
earlier.
Yeah, he goes, well, there was a rumor running around that Ed Muskie was on Ibogaine, and I knew about it because I started that rumor. But he made the guy.
I sold it to him.
So the guy completely cracked. So like this guy was like a front runner for the president, and he fucking completely cracked because everybody thought that he was on drugs. Because Hunter S. Thompson was just running around like saying there's these Brazilian witch doctors who are coming in to treat this guy. It's crazy shit.
That's great. They were like, and Hunter would know.
Yeah. Crazy that he chose Ibogaine too. Because
Yeah,
Ibogaine
Wildflower.
Is like,
Both him
it's
and
not
Matt
a recreational drug.
know
It's
when
not a
to
drug
just let
addiction.
Joe
It's
speak,
literally a
and
drug
they
that
don't need to
stops
like
you.
No, but
engage in the
that- he was the
conversation,
guy that would
like
have the
talking about
full-
cops
the whole
and like
book's full of
fucking
like esoteric drugs you never heard
ivermectin
of.
and
Yeah,
fucking
really casual way.
psychedelics.
Yeah,
Like,
More of a stuff
just
than
let
Ibogaine at
let
the one
Joe
gas
talk.
station that sold between needles and nothing. Yeah, sure. No, of course you can.
Yeah, but it does help people that have brain damage as well. It's
PR
supposed
training?
to,
I don't even
like,
think it's PR training.
cause
I genuinely just think
some sort
Matt
of
Damon and Ben Affleck are just like dudes.
Yeah.
There's stuff out there that can help people, but
I mean, they are.
A large percentage.
They got into Hollywood off of
suffering, and we don't ever hear about it.
out of
They say like
Good Will
philosophy that
Hunting.
It's like the argument is because it's they're not using a glove like that football's supposed to be. I mean, wasn't that the sort of rationale that like you were going to have less impact in boxing because they're the boxing gloves?
No, but remember it's like the subconcussive blows. It's like it's not necessarily the one shot knocking you out as much as the repeated kind of like small, like little bit of brain.
Look, I'm sure that's like they're all bad. You know what I mean? And like a version of
Knocks
getting
to
your
the head are not a
knocked in
good
over and
thing
over.
Yeah.
to be avoided.
Well, it's also what you take in training, too. We're only considering what happens during a fight. If a guy has 40, 50 MMA fights, that's 40.
How many rounds does
Right.
he have in training?
Oh, training camp is fucking brutal. And depending upon how intelligent your camp is, like some people are really smart and they'll spar where they're not hitting each other hard, and then maybe one day of the week they go live, but you do it with trusted, they're very close to you. These are people that you care about and love, so they're not going to try to hurt you on purpose.
Right.
Sometimes not. Like sometimes you're in a hostile gym and you got to spar with people you don't even know. They're from other countries. You have a big name. They're trying to take you out. It's but the amount of damage these guys take. I mean, I don't know if football's better or worse. They're all. But the thing about football is the big impacts are way worse. Because when you've got a 300-pound super athlete that's fucking full tilt
all the way from across the field. Yeah.
boom.
Yeah, with
I mean,
a
it's
running
like
start.
yeah, you're getting hit by a truck, and that doesn't. It's not targeted necessarily at your head. So it's like what is better and what is worse. Boxing's bad. It's like you have options. MMA is slightly better because especially if you're a grappler, you can take guys down and you can beat them up on the ground. But it's like you're paying a price. Yeah. But for that glory, for that one moment when they win and the fucking 16,000 people are on their feet screaming, there's probably no drug like that could ever reproduce it. And those guys chase that high their entire life. And then after it's over, they feel oddly detached.
Nothing ever rises to that level again.
Right. You can make films until you're 100 years old. You can make great films forever. You can do the thing that you love forever. They have a little window, of
That's
greatness.
really tough thing about being an athlete. Like
We were talking to Pete Sampras that time we met Sampras
yeah.
years ago. He was like, we were probably, I don't know, we were 30, 32, something like that. And he was kind of like, oh my God, he had all these, wins and Grand Slams. And he had it kind of vaguely like, he was like, you guys look at it, I'm about to retire. I'm finished. And we were young guys.
It's just getting started. You know what I mean? Like also the thing is you get better at your job the more you do.
Yeah.
And so it's that thing with the athlete. I was having this conversation the other day. It's like you have all the physical skills at the beginning, but you become better at your sport.
Yeah.
As your skills are declining.
The body just doesn't want to do it anymore.
And you've got to just become Greg Maddox, and compensate with all the tricks and location and that's why that drama of like the aging athlete is so powerful. You still have it. It's like, do we still have it in me? Can I still do it? How long? And it's what I've learned enough to compensate for what I've lost.
Well, there's an interesting story about Vitor Belfort. So Vitor Belfort he won the UFC heavyweight tournament when he was 19 years old. That was like the first event I ever worked at in 1997. I mean, he was like one of the all-time greats for sure. But as he was getting into his 30s, he was starting to decline. Then the UFC allowed fighters to use testosterone replacement therapy. And boy, did he fucking use it. Okay? I don't know what his levels were, but they were like superhuman levels. And there was a moment in time for a few years where they allowed him to use testosterone therapy, and people refer to it as the TRT Vitor years.
Clavicular.
Because he was fucking terrifying. Because he has the mind of a veteran, incredible amount of experience, but now his body is moving like a 25-year-old. And so he was
those
just
clips of all those fucking losers
just
at the
lighting people on
club.
fire.
So they're not allowed to use testosterone?
Perfect.
Or,
No, they can't use anything.
They could not have made being a Nazi look less cool.
Nope, not even peptide.
They couldn't have if they tried.
And reform that.
It is so good for good people that happened.
Soft tissue injuries heal quicker and optimize your body's ability to produce hormones. So instead of adding exogenous hormones, you're allowing your body to produce them more naturally, and it just makes you more healthy. For a very unhealthy job, and where you're
and it couldn't have happened to a better group. Like the fact that the Tate brothers are there is so funny.
And it's also, there's no long-term damage it's going to do.
Like yeah, we're rapists actually.
So I hope they reform it. The idea was that there's so many fucking loopholes and so many people cheat. Big camps used to hire scientists. So they had a scientist on staff that was not only
what does he do?
Yeah, exactly. Not only procuring stuff that would slip by the test, because there's like the Balco stuff with Barry Bond, the clear. There's stuff probably right now that people are using that's slipping through, and there's a lot of experts that have one of the things is animal-derived testosterone. So testosterone, one of they use a carbon isotope test, I believe that's what they use, to figure out where the testosterone came from. So if your testosterone is at a very high level, they test all your other ratios. They go, well, no, it all seems likely. He's an outlier. He just has naturally high testosterone. But testosterone
You're just a fucking freak.
Get from synthetic testosterone is derived from a wild yam. Believe it or not. Yes. Yeah, it's not animal-derived testosterone. So the composite of it varies when they run the tests on it, and they can
determine that it's a yam-based testosterone.
It's exogenous, not endogenous.
That's the yam they're fighting. It's not him.
But if they could figure out a way to, and there's a lot of proof of concept of this, can they figure out a way to extract testosterone from animal sources?
Bull testosterone?
Something like that. Well, the taurine. That's what they used to inject Hitler with taurine. Hitler was like a fucking guinea pig for this one doctor who tried a bunch of shit on him. And one of the things they did was inject him with bull testicles and stuff to keep him virile.
True.
Yeah, but there probably are athletes right now that are using some shit that they haven't figured out yet. So to give them any loopholes at all, they're like, no, fucking no loopholes. No IVs, no nothing.
No IVs,
no
IVs.
Vitamins and... Right, but the problem with IVs is you can mask testosterone and mask steroids by over-flooding the body with liquids. So if you overflow,
I see. Yeah.
So then when you
the
piss,
ratio's high because you add more water.
Yes, you would just fill them up with saline, and then when they go to piss, nope, clean.
Not much.
Look at the ratio. It's
because it's so much water is being processed through the body that it doesn't have time to show the testosterone. So there's a way to mask it, especially with things that you would add to the IV. So there's it's only food and approved supplements through really high level labs like Thorne, Thorne supplements where it's third party tested. So they can't do anything. But for a while, they let them do it.
This episode's at least good for his brain.
Days are my favorite.
This is a good conversation.
Did they stop doing fighting because they thought it was advantaging certain people, or shit happened that they're like, this is fucked up?
Well, they look at the difference. That's TRT Vitor on the left, and that's him on the right when they made him get off of it. Look at the difference.
Jesus.
I mean, that's fucking stunning. On the left, though, dude, that motherfucker was terrifying. When Luke Rockhold fought him, he told me, he goes, dude, when I stood next to him at the fucking weigh-ins, he had muscles on his teeth. He goes, this fucking dude was so jacked. He was so scared. I was like, what the fuck is he on? He goes, he knew he was on something. It's cheating. It really is, because you can jack your levels way above a normal human being's. Because that's what a lot of guys... There was a few fighters that were pulled from cards because, say, if a really high level's 1,100, they were testing 18, 1,900. They were people that have never lived before. Right. They were a science project.
A different species.
And they were insane confidence. Insane confidence, because they were essentially a raging gorilla. Yeah, right. They were just insanely confident and just so fired up. They couldn't wait to smash somebody because they were just fucking maniacal. They were a berserker. So it's not a person anymore. Right, now you're a science project. It's not, there are rare outliers who, like Tyson when he was in his prime, it's rare physical specimens, and that's part of the game. But that's God, that's nature. Yeah. This is not, Balco Labs. Right. And so they won't allow him to do anything anymore. And that's why. It's because too many, and Vitor was one of the guys that tested way over the line. and then they
Guys
just
are pushing
decided.
it like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
If you
Right.
say
If you say it's
okay,
legal, they're just going to take as
So
much as
some
possible.
looks good, more is better, and you know.
yeah, if you say, oh, you did 1 cc a week, they're like, I heard 5 cc's, and these guys are just training 5 times a day, and they never get tired, and they recover like that. So, and they never have to worry about soft tissue injuries because they heal like you're a fucking 6-year-old. You know, you just your body just like
You're like fucking Wolverine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Well, that's the thing about peptides too. The Wolverine stack, BP 157 and TB 500. I don't know if you ever get injured. If you ever get injured, get immediately on BP 157 and TB 500.
I didn't hear about TV 500. What's that?
Thymosin beta 500.
Oh, yes,
It's in conjunction with BPC 157. It is a fucking phenomenal stack, and it just really helps
I
injuries.
didn't know they called it the Wolverine.
That's what they call it, the Wolverine
For
stack.
healing, just-
Yeah, because you fucking heal incredibly well. Like it quickly. I was talking to a pro football player, pulled his hamstring. He's like, dude, I shot that shit right into my hamstring for 2 weeks, and I was right back on the field. I was like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
I go, what is a normal rehab? He goes, 3 months. He goes, in 2 weeks, I was back on the field. I go, what the fuck? He goes, I don't know how bad the injury was. He goes, but to me, it's like, fuck. I pulled my hamstring. I'm fucked now for X amount of days. He goes, in 2 days, I was playing full field.
Joe just gave him the
Like,
full
that's
scientific
nuts.
name,
Going right
and he
into the
goes,
area.
"Oh yeah, I got
Right into
it."
it. Some people think you don't have to do that. They think it's, you know,
They're just
systemic,
bull-
so
they're
like,
just
stick your
entertaining
back
him.
on your side. But he's like, no. And most athletes will tell you the best benefit is local. Shoot it locally into the area, and it just has just
Like cortisone or whatever. What is the?
yeah,
yeah,
cortisone.
yeah,
but
yeah.
cortisone just masks
That
it.
numbs it. Or whatever.
Not only that, it has a tendency, if you do it too many times, to weaken tendons. Yeah, and so it could actually
It's like
exacerbate the problem because it takes away the pain.
Right.
Yeah, it takes away the pain, but I mean, you know, then there's the enhanced games that are coming out in Vegas
know.
this year where they're
I
like,
know,
It's
my
crazy
friend
'cause,
had that
like,
idea a long time ago.
Matt
He was like,
and
you should just do
Ben were
the
like
drug Olympics for cash.
easily
You guys
like
do it in
80%
Vegas
of the
for cash.
of the like
And
the
then-
words
then
spoken
they're
for like
doing
the
it.
first
They're
like
doing it.
hour and a half,
Like, they're doing it.
and then after that,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
like-
Joe's
I'm down. I
show.
love.
It's
Let's
the
see what a
science
human being
experiment
can
game.
do.
that's what I think. I mean,
know?
look, when Barry Bonds and, you know, Sammy Sosa and those guys were cracking out home runs, it was one of the most
Pretty
exciting times in
exciting. Yeah, yeah.
baseball.
It was pretty
It was
Well,
exciting.
that's why
fucking
they didn't
great.
do anything.
Right.
They knew it was not a fucking mystery to anybody.
Right.
But everybody's tuning in. Look at the Bash Brothers.
Right.
Baseball on a strike. You know, they almost fucking destroyed that league, and then people started watching.
Yeah, they
got
brought it
their
back.
home
Yeah,
runs.
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then Bonds is like, well, these two fucking guys are
Right.
hitting this many home runs. I'm the best player in baseball, which he was.
Yep.
And when he did it, it was nuts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had a year where he only swung and missed. 162, 3.5 at-bats a game. Only swung and missed. I mean, that's just, you know, and yeah, McGuire move his wrist to get the ball out of the park. It was like, it was fun to watch.
And
I
when
thought I
people
could
say
get
like,
it.
steroids don't make you a better athlete, well, they don't make you a better athlete.
Yeah.
But if you're a fucking Barry
if you're,
Bonds,
if you're already an elite athlete, yeah, it makes.
if you
better.
let John
This much
Jones
hand-
do all the juice he
Oh my
wants,
God.
he'd be fighting until he's 50 and
For
fucking
sure.
people up. If you
Nobody-
say, John, we've really come to our senses. Like, this sport's all about excitement. Want to give the people what they want. Give
Yeah.
people, let people make informed choices based on their own discretion. Oh, it's like
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Then all of a sudden, John looks like Vitor in that picture.
He'd be undefeated until.
By the way,
50.
John beat Vitor when Vitor was in his prime, and Vitor caught John in a full arm bar, totally locked his arm out, hyperextended, popped it, went backwards. You can see the video of it. His elbow is going that way. He wouldn't tap, and then beat him in the next round.
You can't be too mean to Joe. This
Went
is
on.
his special
His
interest,
arm was
dude.
fucked for like a year after that. Yeah.
We all got
Yeah.
one.
Give that man some steroids. Let's see what he can do.
Steroids. Let him be the king of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the dream team. It's like, you remember the first time the pros went to the Olympics, whatever the years.
Oh,
90s?
yeah.
They
It was
won
so
every game
fun.
by 70 points.
Yeah.
It wasn't close, but it was a hell of a lot of fun.
It was
You know?
fun.
Well, the
to watch.
argument for that made sense, though, because, like, these other people are being compensated in their countries.
Oh yeah, I had no
Yeah.
problem. And by the way, now it's got more. That last Olympic championship was a great game
Yeah.
against France. That was fabulous. You know, I mean, yeah, they're gonna wreck some smaller countries and stuff, but okay, you're playing pros. They're playing pros. The whole definition of amateurism has gotten a little bit like, you know,
Yes.
it's like people find like a convenient definition of it according to what's there. Like you see in college sports and stuff. Like, look, I got no problem if you're gonna apply the rules evenly, but sometimes when it feels like it's just an excuse to like for the NCAA to make $1 billion off the TV deal, it's like no, you guys, you're getting an education. It's like a
Right.
little bit like, yeah, education, you guys make a lot of money because people want to see Nebraska play.
It's exploitation. Yeah, and I'm glad they've changed that with college sports because these guys are the reason why you're filling up the seats, and they deserve that money.
And not even one of them's going to be in the NFL.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some of them, that's
Right.
their
Most
window
of
to
them
make
aren't.
that
Right.
money. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard.
It's hard,
The
and
NFL.
this catastrophic injury is always
exactly.
there.
It's constant.
Constant. Yeah.
And the
Let's fucking go.
year or something, year averages,
Yep.
depending on your position, but
That seems just fair. So you pay a kid to go to college, but not to like,
Right.
you know.
Well, that's the great thing about doing something where you're not relying on your body, like acting.
Yeah.
You can kind of do it forever. You know?
Yeah, keep going until you lose it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's really, it's great. And it's got its own competitive aspect, and it's a lot,
Of course.
but like, okay, great. If you get a willing to bet on yourself, and then the expectation is, well, I got to do something that's interesting enough that people want to watch it. Well, that's the proposition.
How do you guys decide, like, on projects that you choose? Like, I'm sure you have so many options now. Like, what makes you say this is what I'm going to spend the next 6 months doing?
it's really, I mean, there are a bunch of different factors, like the director is being the most important one, but if you read a script and like we've read so many thousands and thousands of scripts and written so many scripts and worked on so many movies that if we read something and it's that thing we were talking about earlier, you get that kind of emotional, something happens when you read it. That you go, okay, well, then you pay attention to it, maybe read it again, go, wait a minute, if it moves you in that way, then ultimately the big decision is saying yes because you're going to spend.
Yeah, that's the last point of which you have total control, and then you're in.
Then you're in, and you're in whether it's good or bad. I mean, I've been on those movies where I knew, a month into a 6-month shoot that like this is not going to work, and that is the fucking
What is that
worst.
like?
It's
the worst.
It is. I came to think of that.
Good.
It happened to me.
They're going to shoot us all when it comes out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like it's
You gotta
all
show up
bad.
and go to work.
It's like it's gonna be 80 16-hour days in a row, and then a post-production period that's gonna be pretty fraught, and then it's gonna come out and we're gonna get fucking crushed.
And then you're going to have to sell it. So you're going to have to go do
walk
interviews.
the fucking plank and sit down with access. You know what I mean? Like, saw
it's
the
really
movie.
terrible.
How important is that stuff still today? Like the press stuff. Is that still important?
It is. I don't know.
It was
to
finally
what
asking some
degree
good
each
questions.
Specific thing is. I
It's
mean,
kind of ironic because we were talking about coming on this show today. And remember, we were saying, I was like,
We were
doing
saying
this show,
this is
it'll be more
probably-
meaningful than the rest of the shit we do now.
Like,
True.
We spent this whole week in New York doing, I don't know how many interviews, the quick ones with all the outlets.
105-minute
and-
interviews,
Yeah.
all the evening shows, the day shows.
Yeah, all that stuff, and this just given how many people listen to the show, will be more meaningful. We think. I mean, that's we were speculating. But
Historically, right? If you look at it, because they've changed to like all of it feels kind of produced, forced, and advertised, and people have become resistant to anything that feels kind of like a gimmick and a shtick. And you go on and you do your song and dance, and they say the thing, it looks great, and nobody cares. Like they're looking to go either because somebody they know says it's interesting, or somebody that they is trusted. And a trusted person is in like your feed, right? And it's your friend or your cousin, or they affix that to somebody, which has become a more rare thing. Like who's a legitimate neutral artist.
Why are you watching
right?
Joe
I can't
Rogan?
predict
I'm a
what they're
fucking
gonna say
guy.
Before I go there, there are a few of those.
I like
fewer and
guy
fewer of
stuff.
those people in the world, even those are proliferation of more and more voices, and it's kind of paradoxical. Like the form of entertainment is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So you're like a 7-second, the advertising company. We do most of the spots that we release, like 15-second spots, 6-second spots, for social, the ones most people see. And then there's this one, which is like long-form discussions that are 2 hours long. And the amazing to me is, in a world where it seems like you get people to pay attention for more than a few seconds, there's a kind of a hunger for that. So there's like this form, and that's why you see these are getting more popular. Obviously, you have this massive audience, and it's kind of flying in the face of the whole other trend. And I think, and I don't know, that it probably has something to do with like, who do I think is authentic, and am I actually willing to extend?
He's actually spitting
my
right
2
now.
hours of my time
I've
to
said this
sit there,
before about
listen through,
Twitch.
and that an argument that people probably do appreciate and understand conversations that have context and nuance, and where there's like a back and forth. They're just much more selective about who they're willing to kind of give that sort of voice to in their life.
It's also the voice of the public too, because when people start talking about things online and things go viral online, and people just start like saying how great they love the film or how great this album is or something like that, it just takes off organically now.
Yeah, and that has more weight than anything. If you feel like somebody else who obviously has no dog in the fight is going, hey, this is great, you should see it. I'm the same thing. If I hear somebody tell me, like, you know, who I respect, hey, you got to see that thing, that means more to me than anything, right? Because I believe that. And so if the closer you can get to that, which is why I think the act of, hey, like telling the same, you know, like telling the same like story about you should go see the movie to a bunch of people with a certain like limited reach, it's just not that efficient. But you have to, because it's like, well, we sat down with our own Trisha Tanaka and talked about the movie. You know, you kind of do that ostensibly because it means a little bit more in that market. But I think ultimately it's like more and more people realize they're being sold to, see through the fucking act and this sort of bullshit. They recognize that, you know, you go out and sell every movie, you know what I mean, the good and the bad, and then we got to decide, well, which one, and who can you count on? Well, it's mostly going to be that, like, the word of mouth, your friend, and now you can see that person in your media experience, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's also, we know that when you're sitting down with Extra or these things, like that's just their job to sit down with people. They're not doing it because they want to.
Right.
You know, it's like
they got told, go talk to that person.
Exactly.
And
we got told, go talk to them.
Exactly. So they go do the ritual,
Yeah.
and they say the thing they say, and we say the thing we say. And everyone goes home and says we did our job.
That's the benefit of an independent podcast, is that like with me, I don't talk to anybody I don't want to talk to. It's just like I literally do the whole thing on my phone. I go, oh yeah, that sounds cool, and that's it.
But like that, I think means a lot. Like, at least this person's making this choice, and I've listened to it a bunch, and I
do the ritual. Deadlock reference.
Time, so all right, I'll give it a shot. That, you know, it's exactly.
I think also like this format, like at least I know why I started listening to podcasts was because in the world, like the divisive kind of the way everybody was talking, these sound bites and all this shit, and it was just like the ability to just listen to human beings talk. Often who had different points of view, but like had a civil conversation.
Yeah,
was such a welcome thing. And, you know, given the kind of the hysterical kind of, you know.
Notice how he said podcast. He didn't say Joe's podcast.
Divisiveness that's kind of, it just feels, it's just like, you know, it's like if I open my phone and look at the news, I feel it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, put it down. It's like I feel my cortisol level go up, and to actually hear people, listen to people I know I don't agree with, but listen to them and just think about it. You know what I mean? I mean, approach life with a little bit of humility. Hold on to what you believe, obviously, but keep listening.
It's also, there's not a lot of opportunities in the real world to have long conversations with people. No. So people are kind of starving for that.
I know. Yeah. Isn't it funny that this has become the shared cultural, like, we listen to that podcast and then actually experience that. And also, why don't people trust the media? Well, because the media doesn't do that. Because they compress it, and because the truth is money. Because actually doing that's not with money. It's just ratings and the perceived idea that, like, well, if you simplify it or you position it one way or the other, you engender outrage, that's simple, or just, you know, pure one-sided ideas that are simple. You know, but the news used to be, the idea was, look, here's the FCC, we're going to let these networks broadcast their shows and make money on it. But here's the deal. You got to give an hour and lose money on that hour. Tell the news and I would object to it. Then it started to be, no, you got to make money for that hour too. And if you're going to make money, that's a different incentive than Truth or Fortunes or any of those things. And people try to hybridize them, but at the end of the day, you're a more successful reporter if more people watch you because advertisers pay more, and then they're doing the same thing, looking at their data, you know, what are people watching, what kinds of stories.
I'm making some sick plays.
And I think it's a simple answers because you just
I am Waldo.
Profit game, those incentives
I'm tapped in.
are not aligned with.
This is what happens when I don't have to read chat.
Yeah, it's a weird time.
I don't have to
It's
be
like we have
funny.
more access to information than ever before, but so much of it is just horseshit. Yeah.
What rank is this? Number 1.
Hard to stay balanced.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's good to like listen to people just talk.
Yeah.
And then you recognize like the flaws in their thinking. You feel ego. You feel deception, bullshit. You know,
It's true. People will reveal themselves. We actually don't need that many editorialists.
Yeah.
To be constantly telling us what to think.
Yeah.
How to think. Because people actually have pretty good instincts. You know, if someone's bullshitting you, eventually they'll kind of hang themselves. Like you said, you'll get that vibe. After a while, he kind of started repeating his shtick, and I kind of didn't really talk about what I was wondering about. And you form your own. That's like forming your own judgment.
Pete Buttigieg actually talked about that being dangerous on podcasts. He's like, because you go on there and you have your points, but you'll get revealed over the course of a few hours. Like, you can only stick to these lines.
Yeah, you get only talking points and bullshit for and then what happens is people just like there was an art to like look at how great communicators they stick to the message and they do their points. Okay, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, but any longer than that, it just starts to look like a fucking robot on, you know. And like I said, what we need to follow through with, you know, like I saw you do the same hand gesture and the same bit with that, but I'm, you know.
Sometimes you find out they're full of shit just by having them talk about other things. You know, like, tell me, do you like cooking? You know, like, just
right.
like, and then you just see like some concocted.
They're thinking, what makes me look good if about cooking? that I should do?
Exactly.
Well, I'll
That's
tell you
it.
what, because I
Yeah.
know
What would the
America's
See that clip of Mark Zuckerberg talking about
Do I cook or
archery
do I not?
on Joe's
Does
podcast?
that make me feminine?
probably exactly
or
what
does
he's
that make
thinking
me
about.
open to cultural, you know, it's just like, what do you like to cook? I don't cook. You know.
Well, that's the other thing about people that are online too much is they're so concerned with other people's opinions that they don't have enough time to formulate their own. You're just so concerned with how people are going to perceive everything you say that you're like handcuffed. You're like terrified to misspeak.
Right.
I think that in general is a real fucking danger. I mean, we were talking the other day, we were saying about like one of the benefits of getting older and doing this for a long time is you realize like nobody really gives a shit about you. You know, you just kind of nobody, nobody
You spend your
remembers.
20s and 30s thinking like this is really important, and then you realize no one fucking
Am I gonna come off? And what's gonna be? People,
No one actually
Right.
cares. It's not that big a deal.
Most
Nobody
people are
cares.
mostly worried about themselves. Yeah, there's this illusion that they pay a passing moment of attention, or it's in some story. It's like you're fucking staring at it because it's about you.
Right.
You know that you said that about me. Nobody else.
Yeah. And if they do, they're usually fucked up. Like something's wrong. Why concentrate on this other person's life?
Does it really matter?
You're probably
to you?
trying to
It's
ignore
like-
your own bullshit.
Right.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, your movie's fucking awesome. I've loved so much of your films over the years, so it's been really cool to be able to get you guys in here and talk about this. It's been great.
It's been
Thanks for
fun.
having
Thank
us.
you
Two
very much.
very normal, nice movie stars. You guys are cool.
Normal
as fuck.
Give us a
gas,
couple
Joe.
more hours.
Normal
Yeah,
gas.
exactly.
I enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the rip. It's fucking great, and everybody go see it. It's great. I loved it. Thank you. Thanks for being here. All right.
It's a pleasure.
Bye, everybody.
That was a good Joe episode, man. Say what you will about Joe, but that was like old Joe. That was where he thrives. Now put one on where he gets racist. Joe Rogan does not get racist. Okay? As far as I'm aware. He does get stupid. Does get irresponsible. But Joe Rogan is not racist.
Just taking it so they don't get it.
I've seen some racist on Joe Rogan. I'll give you that. He'll get points for that for sure. That passes. That you're right. But Joe's just having conversations at the end of the day. Holy shit. Don't take me out. I want to win the game.
The spirit urn is waiting
crazy backdoor.
I could just end the game right here.
I wonder if I'll just kill the patron. They're all, yeah, none of them are there. Sick.
That was a sick game. That was a sick game. Damn, look at those numbers, bro. Great Joe episode. Great match. Thanks for watching tonight. I'm gonna head out, eat some food. I might try to do more React streams like that. We'll see. When there's stuff that I want to listen to that's more long form. React. Why is that in quotations? That was transformative. I laughed. I paused. We had comments. I played Deadlock. It was... Donald Trump is president. This was legal. Anyways, thank you for watching. And I should see you tomorrow.